Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and Bigs and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now. Bobby Roast Beef here. We recorded this episode while we were sort of in limbo, waiting for the go-ahead to go ahead and go live for our May tournament, which the official start date's May 8th is when we're starting. We're going to carry a week into June. So what you're about to hear is going to have a lot of information that is not actually current right now, because at this very moment, registration is open for our month-long tournament. Proceeds go to benefit Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. Go ahead and sign up and register for the tournament simply by visiting your app store and downloading the Fishing Chaos app. Once you download that, just do a search for Jigs and Bigs. You'll see our app right there. If you follow us on Instagram, we're going to be posting a link in our story. You can go and visit that right now. I'll be posting that periodically throughout the registration week here. And yes, you can join the tournament at any point that you would like. So we're extending the registration past just this week, so you can join while it's ongoing. Just want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Fishing Chaos for coming through. We needed you guys to go and make this happen. We appreciate you, and we're gonna have a great time. Everybody enjoy the show.
Let's do some poetry! Bobby, caught a crappie. And OGO Joe let it go. Sean fished at dawn, but pissed his bibs in someone's lawn. I didn't write it!
Well, look at that, everybody. We got another Tuesday morning for you. It's Jigs and Bigs time, and lots to talk about. First off, I don't know what happened in the 7 days from our last episode to this, but it seems like there's this huge trend right now. Everybody's joining the 6-pounder club. We're going to talk about that. We have tournament stuff to talk about. Not only the action that's been going on in the area and amongst our friends and Jigs and Bigs fam, but the Jigs and Bigs tournament is we're so close. We're so close. We're going to talk about the hurdles and what's on tap for you guys. Plus, we've got all kinds of great stuff, and I've got some cool stuff to talk about regarding a local organization that we've had on the show before, and everything all kind of ties together here, guys. Plus, a huge announcement on Jigs and Bigs merch. Guys, go ahead, sit tight, don't go too far. We got much more show coming up for you guys. We'll be right back after this, and we got all the good Jigs and Bigs goodness for you. Fish on! Would you look at that? I don't think we've had as many jig heads jumping in and engaging with us ever in our life, Sean. We got Elise over at the Pro Agency saying that she is pasta fat, not skinny fat. I can get down with pasta fat. I know what pasta fat's all about. Our homies over in Hookset Hoodlums jump in and say schwing. I think that's because of my Party on Wayne, Party on Garth Patreon post that I put up there. We got all kinds of comments coming in here. Joe over at OGO says, Dad bod for life. Yeah. I mean, I've been rocking it since 78. You know, that's how I've been doing it as a wee tyke. Everybody's jumping on here. Oh, is this? Oh, here we go. Elise jumps in again. Says, this bull balls oysters thing. Yes, this is not the bull balls oyster thing, but that's coming. That's coming. We're going to answer all these questions. Sean, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm good. I see Berkshire Brett is chiming in as well. I want to start the show off by delivering a huge thank you to Berkshire Brett.
Yes.
As we mentioned this weekend, or that we mentioned months ago, we went ice fishing up to Shears. Berkshire Brett met us there. Berkshire Brett did me more than a solid. He brought a cooler of venison. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
Venison went in the freezer. Venison got brought out last night. Venison got eaten last night. Whole family enjoyed the venison. Thank you very much, Brett. Although I did unfortunately have a cooking malfunction. I fired up my grill, and as soon as I went outside to put the steaks on the grill, propane died. No more propane.
Oh, grill fail. That sucks, dude.
I have a griddle on my stove, and I cooked them on that, which not as good as the grill, but my God, that was so good. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Definitely. No, that's good stuff. So you did venison steaks. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done, in the past, I've done a venison shepherd's pie, which was dynamite.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really good. And then what else did we do that was a venison dish that was...
Do you remember the restaurant on Route 20 Wilbraham? It used to be Horizons. I know it's something else now.
Chima. Now it's Chima, yeah.
Did you ever eat there when it was Horizons?
I got a story about when it was Horizons, and I think you do too, actually. I think you were privy to this in the basement of Bernie's HOT. Something to do about a camcorder being recorded with a tape still in it.
No.
You remember this? Oh, shut up. In one of Springfield's finest? This should not go on the podcast.
No. We'll talk about this later. No, I was just talking about...
that was like 20-something years ago, so I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, there was...
Wow.
They do wild game over there? Or did?
No, when it was Horizons, I only went there a couple times with the wife. She would get, I don't know, some sort of crusted chicken or some shit, and I would get the venison, and they used to put this little it was some sort of a berry sauce on top of it. It was phenomenal. Yeah, that's all. I don't know. It was really good. I don't know what the hell you're talking about with these improprieties with.
I'll explain. We'll go over the I'm surprised. I am very interesting. Let's just say.
Wow.
Be careful. I have a gift for you, my friend. You might notice that I am wearing a lovely piece of headwear right there from our good friends over at Make Mass Fishing Spots Great Again.
Ooh.
Right over there. Yes, absolutely. And I picked up, this one's yours.
Oh, thanks, man.
So I picked one up for you, and I bring those guys up because not only are they an amazing organization who's doing great things in our area, and things are firing up for them as far as getting out there and doing some cleanups and stuff, but our tournament that we have organized for the month of May and what's looking like and beyond is going to benefit their organization. That's what this is all about. So we're very, very excited about that. So the kickoff of their new hat design and this tournament going on is going to be absolutely freaking crazy. Nelson jumps in here with a nice venison recipe. Venison jalapeno poppers. I could imagine those are amazing. I could certainly imagine that those are amazing. Venison's very lean, so it's like it's challenging to cook. Like it's not as forgiving as a fattier meat,
Yeah, I had a backstrap and I had 3 steaks that Brett had given me. The 3 steaks, I watched them and I watched them and I watched them and I went just over medium well with them. I mean they were probably closer to well, and that was an accident. They were they weren't a 3/4 inch steak from a cow. They were a thinner venison steak, and I overcooked them just a hair. They weren't like hockey pucked, but they were definitely well done, which that's my fault. I had the backstrap, which was thick, and I ate fine. My family got the hockey pucks.
Well, it must have been a quiet meal because everybody was busy chewing.
Yes. Yeah. We've all seen Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
Hey, before we get going any further, so
Let's do it.
With the tournament, we are in the absolute final stages here of the actual implementation and go live.
Yes.
I'm actually waiting for a phone call back from support. I had one issue to deal with the verification of payment system. And other than that, it's live. So it's actually so far along that I'm actually bumping the live time back, and I'm hoping that we can have this thing open by the time we're done recording.
Yeah.
So if the phone rings and I vanish for a minute, loving audience, I will be back as soon as possible. This shit, I got to make sure we got a tournament running.
So let's talk about the details of what we have here. What's going on with this tournament? I know our initial intent was to go May 1st all the way straight through the month of May, and we had a hurdle that we kind of had to jump over with Fishing Chaos, getting things lined up in time to meet that deadline. It didn't happen. So we've changed a couple of things with this tournament. First, I think the main thing is the registration. Our initial push was that we wanted a week-long pre-reg period so people could get in there, sign in, and initially, our plan was that we would stop the registration window basically at the end of the day, right before the tournament started. Basically, up until midnight of the day of the start of the tournament would be the idea. And the one thing that we have changed, because we're like, this is a fundraising event, and there's, we want to get as many people as possible. So if you're unable to join in that first week, but you still want to be a part of it, here's the deal. You guys can join at any time while it's ongoing, at least for the foreseeable future. With the May tournament, we're going to keep it that way, just because we want to get everybody involved with it. So what we've done is the plan is we're starting pre-reg now, and the first day of fishing is going to be, what did we say? It was the 6th?
Yes.
The 6th will be the first day of fishing, and it will carry all the way 4 weeks later into the first week of June is essentially the breakdown of it. So we're going to be doing a little bit of crossover there, but this way everybody can get in that wants to. If you're hearing this episode and you're like a week or two behind episodes or something, or you missed the story on Instagram or something like that, this is a way that you can join in and take part of it. Because, while it's a multi-species tournament and, we're using that point system, one significant day of fishing can change it,
Yep.
And
Bobby, let's take a step back there. I'm sorry. I have the dates in front of me because I'm keeping an eye on this configuration thing.
Yep.
The tournament starts the 8th, May 8th, and it goes to June 6th.
May 8th, and it goes to June 6th. Yep. Okay.
May 8th to June 6th. May 8th, the start of the day, 12:01 a.m.
Yep.
Start fishing. Goes till June 6th, 11:59. So we've actually still given everybody a month, but it's just a week pushback because, basically what it boils down to was, I think there was a miscommunication of expectations between ourselves and between ourselves and Fishing Chaos.
Yep.
We got it straightened out, but in between that point and that point was, we can do this, but they thought they were doing something else, and it's all good. Yeah. We straightened it out. We're literally just waiting for the verification of the payment methods, which is outside of them, and as soon as that happens, we're good. So I am hoping by the time this airs tomorrow, we're already up and running for hours.
Yep.
Knock on wood at this point. I'm just crossing fingers, make sure we're good. That's that. Do you want me to talk a little bit about the actual process and using Fishing Chaos to register for the tournament?
Yeah, why don't you jump in that? Let's talk about that now. Get it all out of the way before we move on.
Real simple. Okay, for anybody who wants to join this tournament, there's 3 ways. Obviously, because the money that's coming into us goes to both make Mash fishing spots great again, and then we're buying the prizes for the tournament.
Yep.
All right. The Fishing Chaos fees are contributed from the angler on top of that. So if you're just fishing this one tournament and you're not fishing Chronic Trips and you're not fishing MAKB and EKF and KBF, there is a one-time fee for this tournament of $2.55. And if you were to, this is your tournament, and then you want to think about it again in July, you can pay $2.55 again on top of that. So your grand total will be $32.55.
Yep.
Fishing Chaos also has a monthly subscription plan. So any tournaments you join during that month, the fees are taken care of. You pay basically a $4 fee, $3.99. So if you subscribe to that and pay for the tournament, you'll be paying $33.99. But then for the rest of the month, you don't get any tournament fees. So if you join another tournament, you're good. The final subscription, shall we call it, to Fishing Chaos, and this is the one I have because I'm in numerous tournaments throughout the year, if you're in a bunch of tournaments, and even honestly, it makes sense. I'll tell you why mathematically. It's $43.89 for the yearly subscription. It's called the Wrangler. Okay.
The Wrangler.
The Wrangler. So right off the bat, just for subscribing to that, you get a $20 Fish USA gift card that you can buy all your gear with.
Yep. So
it's actually $23.89. Do the math on that based on either $4 a month or $2.55 every tournament, and it made a lot of sense for me. So there's the 3 subscriptions. You've got to log in, before you pay anything, log into Fishing Chaos, make a new account. It's going to be your little personal account. Then you're going to search for our tournament. We should at this point have it linked up to being the Jigs and Bigs Club. Yep. And it's not up there yet, Bobby. I haven't published it. Actually, I'm going to be setting the time back here in a minute, so I might go quiet. But you'll be able to get into the tournament. Please join the club as well. There is some required information: telephone number, email address, and your name, because we're going to be mailing stuff out to you if you win. We kind of need that information.
Yep.
The phone number and email are going to come in handy, because if there's any messages, I have to send it as a director throughout the tournament. Something comes up, everybody needs to know about it. That's my centralized way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any questions? Anything else I can help with?
No. I think you've covered it. 2 things that I'd like to get to regarding some housekeeping. First off is I want to talk about, we'll get to the merch in just a minute, but I am going to pull the beef curtain back here a little bit. A lot of people aren't aware of this. Sean and I haven't talked about it on the show. It's kind of a big thing, but just, so everybody's aware, we haven't been able to find Howie since that episode ran. He's been MIA this entire time, and we've kind of been keeping things quiet. But to quote my favorite film, new shit has come to light. And we got an anonymous, not so anonymous, but we did get a random phone call. And I'd like to actually play that for our listeners right now, if I could. Just so you guys know what's up. We are actively looking for Howie. He's not on milk cartons or anything yet, but, we'll see.
Hello, Bigs and Jigs. Greatest fishing podcast in all of America. This is your number 1 fan, Alexei Pikrelkov. I ran into a friend of yours. I'm taking him out to wait some lines today. Say hello. Hello, Sean. Hello, Bobby. I'm afraid I can't make it to work today. I've run into a new friend, Alexei, and he promises me big things today will rise. I'll keep you posted. Ta.
What kind of people are we associating with here, Sean? What the fuck is wrong with us?
The lowest form of people.
So, if I'm not mistaken here, it sounds to me like our intern Howie has flown off to Mother Russia with the tank, with the machine, if you will. And if you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the machine, it's because I can't remember that comedian's actual name right yet. But that's what it sounds like. He is in Mother Russia, wetting lines in Chernobyl. I don't know what's going on.
He could be anywhere.
He's an international man of mystery. I hope he makes it back in time for the trifecta. We will see.
I don't know.
Damn. Well, at least he's okay. I was a little concerned after that interview. It was a little awkward in the office.
He's okay, as from the time of that phone call. We don't know. Was that on a burner phone? He could be in the
he could be involved with the Russian mob. I don't even know. And of course, Lauren chimes in and says, "What did you do to Howie?" Lauren, I'm sure Howie's okay. I'm sure he's having the time of his life drinking vodka that flows from the rivers. I don't know.
With Alexei.
As soon as I heard that voice, though, it was haunting. It was haunting. So anyway, and there's another thing. You guys have heard of Cameo, right?
Yes.
Cameo, the app where you can have like celebrities do like kinds of stuff and everything. Well, I don't know how this landed in my plate. And you won't hear this until it's the finished episode. But that beginning of the episode, if you're hearing this now recorded, like the finished product, the whole like intro of it, that was Bobcat Goldthwait leaving us a poem that he wrote in the character of Zed from Police Academy. I don't even know how this shit happens, man. It's bananas.
We're lucky. A listener must have paid.
Maybe. I don't know. I looked up Bobcat on Cameo and on, I think it's Mimeo or something like that. I sent him up for you some job experience and you lose him. We're terrible. We'll get him back. Look, don't worry, Lauren.
He's got a few personal days. We can't really,
It's true.
there are laws. We can't just.
Part of the job description is, taking fishing days. So I can only assume that's the case. All I'm saying is he better come back with a lifetime's worth of, content that we can put out on the show. Like, what's it like to be out there, fishing in, these unique conditions? Because you got to think Russia's huge. There's a lot of different climates going on and different, yeah.
He could be fishing through the ice right now for Greenland sharks. We don't know.
Yeah, there's no way we're going to know unless we can find him. So Howie, I appreciate you calling in. Let us know when we can expect you back in the office. We're sorry about any instances that happened here or incidents at the studio. We'll get it all worked out. The other thing I want to talk about is this: our store. We have a new store that's about to launch, and I want to give everybody who is on our live feed here a little bit of a preview of what this looks like. So we have a new store that we're about to launch here, guys. And while it's not set up and linked just yet, we do have a couple of things. That's what I'm looking for right here. We do have a number of items on here that I kind of want to show to you guys. And for the remainder of the month, we're keeping our prices really, really low here. You guys might want to take a look here. So we have our logo line, but what's new about the logo line is this last shirt right here. This is a performance UV long sleeve tee. We also have it available in a short sleeve if you prefer a short sleeve, but these are your performance shirts. They're quick drying. They'll keep you cool. They're fantastic. You're absolutely going to love these. The other thing that we have to show for the very first time is this lineup right here. This Jigs and Bigs long sleeve right here. This is what we're calling the Sean the Fisherman metal shirt. If you guys want to take a look here, it's got our URL on the sleeves there. That different the alternative Jigs and Bigs logo with the fish skeleton. We also have on the back, of course, a claim that we're very happy to make is that it is New England's heaviest fishing podcast, and that is a fact, 100%. So
we'd like to give a huge shout out to my man Phil for the help with the design on that. He and I both put a lot of work into it. He really straightened it out once I had the raw design down, and that's his work with the fish. Yeah, he was very good about making a skeletal Jigs and Bigs bass, which he did, and then
looks awesome.
We put it all together. Yeah. So thanks to him. And also just as a note, I went to Mantis Graphics last week because I am in that weird place where I'm sometimes an extra large fits and sometimes a double X fits because of my height and because of my honestly sleeve length and because I'm a fat guy. So I went to Mantis and I tried on one of the extra large cotton t-shirt fit beautifully. The extra large performance t-shirt, one word, moobs. So if you're, I would go with the size up on the performance just to be safe, folks. Okay. That's Sean the Fisherman sage advice.
The Fisherman sage advice. And you'll notice here that we have 3 hats, and we set this up this way for our logo line to get with the Jigs and Bigs logo. We set this up just this way to kind of give everybody a little bit for their style, but we're offering just a black hat to keep it nice and simple, and so the logo really pops. What we've got is a flat brim that is pretty decent quality, actually. If you're into that, I love a flat brim hat. I also love a trucker hat with the mesh back, and it's got the slight curve in the brim. And then we have Sean's favorite. That's the low profile dad hat. It's much more relaxed fit on the cap, and it has that more of a severe curve in the bill, but very, very comfortable. So we got you can represent that logo on your head with whatever style it is that you're looking for. And we're going to be adding more merch as we go into the summer. So if you guys want to get in here, and you'll notice some of these prices are like bargains. Like you can get the hoodie is probably the most expensive item that we have, but even on the pro stuff here, on the performance gear, It's a bargain right now. So I would highly recommend you guys go ahead and get into that now while you can. Let's go ahead and ditch that. That will be live on jigsandbigs.com as soon as we get the thumbs up that they're ready to process and take orders. That will be in a couple of days. You'll see that in a couple of days. It's going to be happening. So very, very excited about that. New Jigs and Bigs merch available at jigsandbigs.com. I mean, all kinds of great stuff.
Everyone can keep in mind that Sean the Fisherman shirt is right at home visiting your favorite fishing hole, and then you're right at home in the middle of a mosh pit right after you're done fishing.
It's true. Yeah.
Concerts are coming back. Be ready for
Concerts are coming back. Man cologne is a thing. I mean, embrace it. Embrace it. I got to talk about something here. I had a shit week of fishing. I had some fun outings. I didn't catch a damn thing, but I am still riding high on that new PB. Like, didn't even care. Didn't even care. I didn't catch. Although, to be fair, you and I have had our hands full. Like, there's been a lot of shit that we've been managing right here. So getting out to the water has definitely been a little bit slower. I'm sure. Well, maybe not so much for you, but definitely for me. But I will say this: we got a lot of new people breaking PBs, man. A lot of new people in the 6-pound window. So 2 people I want to give shout outs to. First off, Eric Dowd. Eric, I made a post. He's on our Instagram. If you follow, Eric is one of the OG original Jigs and Bigs listeners. Like, he's been listening to this show. In fact, he was one of the main people I bounced ideas off of, like, for the name when I first got things started, was Eric. He was a big reason and also a big motivation to me getting back into fishing. Back in, it was 2019. It was May of 2019 where I caught a 3 at a highly pressured spot while I was out fishing with him, and then that was it. Everything just snowballed from there, and here we are doing this crazy freaking show, So Eric caught a PB, and he caught that PB at the same body of water where I caught mine. And it got me thinking about that body of water and what's going on over there, and like putting patterns together a little bit. Like, there have been some really big fish caught over there. My PB smallmouth is over there. I caught a decent one that time in 2019 with Eric. I was with Paul, and he caught like a 4 3/4 right over by that same body of water. I caught a 6.6. Eric caught a 6-pound 10-ouncer. Like, it's one of these things that just kind of performs unbelievable. And then I want to throw this one out. Alex, Swamp Rat Fishing, new PB today. Like, today he just broke it, and I know it's over 6 pounds. I'm not 100% sure, but later tonight, if you go over to his YouTube channel, I'm going to be on Beers and Brews tonight with Alex, and we're going to talk about all this kind of stuff. And I don't know if he realizes it, but I'm going to be interviewing him again. I know it's his show, but I'm definitely going to be interviewing about this for sure. So good stuff, man. I'm psyched. People are out there; they're getting big fish, and I'm hearing that we're starting to see fish on beds locally.
Yeah,
just
Tim Jackson said that Friday.
Yeah.
He was seeing some of the water bodies that he frequents. Fish were already turning up on beds, and I said, "Man, it's really cold." And he said, "I don't know what to tell you. I saw them." So,
they're big, I mean, it's that time of year. And every day that goes by as we're now in the month of May, and those water temps start to go up and up and up, you're going to see more and more fish getting up on beds, and those colder bodies of water that have a lot of shelter, from sun, and they're not getting that full sun all day long. You're going to see in June they're going to be moving up there, or late May. Yeah. We've just had so many cloudy, crappy days over the past week. I mean, the last time I went fishing last week, and I haven't fished all week. I have been buried in home projects for the past week, but last week. I was up to Shears, and it was barely 50 degree water. So that's crazy, man. It's just been insane. It's like, what was it? When did I wake up this morning? Or no. Well, Saturday morning I woke up and it was barely 40 degrees. I mean, the lows are so cold at night. So I don't know what that necessarily means for us as far as the spawn goes, but if it's all going to hit at one time, or.
Yeah, well, you and I talked about it. Like, I have memories and records of 2 years ago and even prior to that where we had extended spring periods where the waters did not warm up quickly, and to the point where I was out on Cape Cod and it was a full-blown pre-spawn feeding frenzy up to the last weekend in May.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to happen again this year. I mean, there's always going to be a spread out of beds and when fish are breeding and whatnot. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't fished this week. I can't give a good answer.
Yeah,
I'll get a better bead this week, I hope.
I've heard that there's phases for the spawn. Like you get certain populations that will spawn earlier or later, depending on like where those fish generally like hold up or where they post up and generally hang out, because water temperatures are going to differ. So I mean, it's just going to be exciting.
And then multiply that by 4 distinct geographical zones.
Yeah,
in Massachusetts, and there you could be spawning into June in certain places up in the Berkshires.
Yep.
Some places in Cape Cod could be spawning at the end of March. You never know. But
yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be exciting. So, what do we have? Well, I think we've cut. Man, we didn't even do like a full on like regular production meeting beforehand, because like so much of this has been riding on the tournament going live and everything else. So the one thing about the tournament that I do want to say is this: everybody who is interested, if you're interested right now in this tournament, definitely go ahead and download your Fishing Chaos app now. Set up your account, get that stuff up and ready to go, because once we go live, you'll be able to join, and I'm going to do a significant blast on all social media that we have as far as when it is live, so you will know about it. There may even be there won't be an additional podcast, because by the time it should be live, I'm hoping by tonight. So,
I'm hoping too. I'm just checking now. It's still not. Again, this is not on Fishing Chaos for this one. It's
just a matter of the gears needing to work.
This is simply the verification of the payment process. So we're waiting on that. I'll keep checking.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I'm pushing it back half hour by half hour. So,
yep. Yeah. Good stuff.
There's your update. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would, I'd urge every single listener that's hearing this podcast right now, go ahead and download that Fishing Chaos app, create your page, your profile, get all that stuff set up, and then we'll go live. We'll give you the heads up when everything is ready to happen, and enter this tournament. Have some fun with it. You're absolutely going to love it. We're recommending the catch board. What is it? What is the model? The X. The one that you've got.
I don't know. There's a bunch of them now.
There's a bunch of them now. And then the Carbonite is the one that's a little bit more like sort of like economical choice. And it holds up. The thing is a beast. What else was I going to suggest people?
That laser etched one, or that laser one, not the laser etched one. The catch board that I have is an older model. So it's 2 years old now. And
okay.
Yeah, I think they've updated their model line since. So I don't even know what model I have. At the time they were only selling that one, and then it was customizable for names, etc. But
okay,
yeah. So I have I don't know, OG catch, whatever.
I love it. But yeah, that's what we're recommending. If you have that traditional like hog trough style of board, you can use that, but make sure to darken all of your markings on that board so that they're easy to see. When you take a picture overhead of your catch, you want to make sure that the director, Sean, can see all of this stuff and get a good bead on it. Make sure your photos are really good, and you'll be using the camera on your phone. You'll be able to use the camera right there on your phone, and that's going to help you a lot. Because
submit it through the app, and anybody who's in multiple tournaments, those will all show up. I think they're pre-checked, so you've got to kind of watch that. I don't care for our tournament, but other tournament directors might get pissed off if you're constantly submitting fish that you really don't need to submit. That's your business. We're all adults here. Read the rules. I can't see you and Bobby. You and I have talked about this. You got to read the rules
at length.
Just read the rules.
Yep.
I wrote them out. I took the time to write the goddamn things. Please read them. That's all I want to say, because I know I'm going to get somebody who's like, hey, what do I do here? And I'll be like, read the fucking rules, dude, because I spent the time typing this. I don't want to spend the time retelling you. Now, if there's a question on it, that's different. But if you have a question that can be answered by reading the rules, help me out here. I'm running fucking 8 tournaments. Give me a break. Fuck.
Want to give another special shout out to Rachel, RJW_MyMarineWorld on Instagram. Friend of the show. She got on some bass yesterday, I believe. And
finally.
Yeah, finally got on, and she did it with a rattle trap.
Yep.
She did them on a lipless. Nice job. So Definitely proud of her. Like I have an inbox full of DMs of people that have been getting on fish that want me to share some stuff. And I'm just waiting to collect enough of them to put together another one of those videos. Cause I thought that was just the way to kind of celebrate everybody's catches, do something like that. So very, very excited. Should we jump right into the tournament stuff now, Sean? Do you think?
No. Talking about Rachel here. Let's give her some airtime. I want to talk about Rachel.
Some airtime. Okay, good. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. So Rachel actually had a couple questions, maybe a month and a half ago.
Yep.
Regarding fish finder installation and this and that.
Yeah. Yep.
So I went out on a limb and said, well, I can walk you through it. Let's do a Zoom meeting and we'll get you going. We did. There was one issue with the splice. Now, with my experience in electronics, obviously I wasn't there to QC it physically. Mm-hmm. And she did 3 out of 4 splices perfectly. One, I guess, was a little loose. She did tug on all 4 of them, but I don't know how, I can't tell how hard you're pulling on a wire over a Zoom. It worked. When she turned it on, it was fine. And then the next day it didn't work. So she actually cut the heat shrink back, opened it up, respliced, redid that one splice, and everything was good. So nice. She's rocking and rolling, and she caught her first bass of the year. She's all excited. So that's huge. Good for Rachel.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we should mention that Delirious Angler finally on the board as well. He caught on some bass, and he on the Slay Nation team tournament that had gone down yesterday. Both he and Wild Bill had an epic day, but only caught so many bass. I guess it was like a little pickerel apocalypse, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots.
Yes, I saw their pictures, and they were certainly into the pickerel yesterday.
Lots of slime. So, Sean, have you seen the newest Hookset Hoodlums video?
The one with you and I and Mr. What was it? The Catfish Man?
Catfish Man.
Catfish Man. I've been pushing really, really, really hard since that adventure.
Yep.
For Hookset Hoodlums to offer a 3-dimensional hat with Hookset Hoodlums on it with a fish. How did Bill describe in the video? This man here with his head impaled by a fish.
Impaled by a fish. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'd buy one. That's all I can say.
Definitely. That was, man, it was, what a good, actually, I say I've had a shitty week of fishing. That's wrong. That Tuesday, I got on a smallie. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you fat bastard. All right. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's been an interesting week, and there's been a lot of listens to the episode that we had with Hookset Hoodlums on. We talked a lot on that one about, obviously, the weekend experience that I had when I had been out with Chris Tabari. So all kinds of like huge stuff happening, man. This has been really good.
I heard Chris, we may have to talk to Chris down the road about how he's whereabouts. I heard Chris may or may not know this mysterious Alexi. We'll find out.
Oh, really? Okay.
I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris has been around the world, dude. He knows a lot of people.
He's done some traveling. Yeah, for sure. I didn't realize he was as connected as he is. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he's smoggling Smirnoff. Who am I to judge? That's not what I do.
Smuggling Smirnoff. How much for blue jeans?
Oh,
what did he say? He was in a band. Your cousin Olaf, wasn't it? Fuck your Yankee blue jeans.
Fuck you, Yankee blue jeans. Yeah, that's right.
We're old.
Scarlenoff.
Well, that's fucked up. What do you say? I don't know. It just sounds fucked up.
So what's your podcast like? Well, basically, it's 2 middle-aged men, and what we do is relive our childhood by making 90s references constantly while we talk around the subject of fishing.
I think on Kevin Smith's site, you can still buy Fuck Your Yankee Blue Jeans 1994 World Tour shirts, and it's all dates in New Jersey.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Berserker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh. My love for you is like a truck.
It is, isn't it? That's the best analogy one could make. My love for you is like a truck. Oh, good God, people. Very, very exciting stuff. I mean, we have, we got a new store that's about to launch. We have this tournament that's about to go live. Could happen at any moment. And that's, in a way, that's sort of what Sean and I are waiting on, is that heads up that it's live, by the way. You guys can go ahead and get yourselves all set up.
That would be nice. I have a feeling that, again, look, I'm just being pessimistic. We might be doing a little media round tomorrow. because I trust banks as far as I can throw them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, but I'll just keep an eye on this. So I do have something else to talk about. I did.
Far away.
Yeah. So we had some. I'm not even going to say. How do you say this? We had two of our crew, two of the Jigs and Bigs crew, and Hook's at Hoodlums as well now, doing some volunteer work last week, and I got a report from how things went. Do you want to talk a little bit about that event first?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Go for it.
So this is the event that we had. We had Ryan Kincaid on a number of weeks back. We talked about it. Ryan is from an organization called CHD, and they basically were organizing these all-inclusive, all-abilities type fishing derbies that were happening as a series. And this was on Wednesday nights. We initially had gotten the nod because they were looking for some volunteers and were interested to know if we were able to do so. I was not available, unfortunately, because of my schedule with Wednesday nights. But I as soon as I heard about this, I was like, we got to get somebody on from CHD to talk about this. So what they have going on are a couple of things. Are these Wednesday night fishing derbies, but they also have these instead of all open to all ages, I should say, these are children and adults. And then they have like these social fishing events that they're getting to work out for adults, where they can get together and kind of congregate and fish and like just kind of network and meet one another. And these are for folks of all abilities. Like, you could go there never having held a fishing rod in your life, and they got you. They'll show you what's up and get you started. So that's really, really awesome. Great stuff. So that happened. This was this past Wednesday. Why don't you go ahead and talk about how it went?
Yeah, cousin John and Nelson both went out there and volunteered their time, which was absolutely awesome. Teaching kids that needed it, fishing skills, or from what I talked with John today for about 10 minutes about this. I said, give me the rundown. How did it go? He said they each got paired up with a couple of kids, varying experience levels. So some kids needed everything from casting and tying a hook on. Some kids needed just, bait on the hook and fish removal if they caught something. And other kids were just fine and kind of like, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone, which was great. So you saw all experience levels, so they were able to concentrate on where they needed to help out.
Yep.
Yeah, John even noted one of his needed a refresher on casting, so he didn't take an eye out, which John was happy to help him out. And, and the boy left he left that event with both eyes, which is good.
Sometimes that's the best catch of all.
Yes. It was obviously COVID friendly, and it's an outdoor event, so that was good. It was a Center for Human Development again put it on.
Yep.
It was called the All In Barrier Free Recreational Division. It was held over the West Springfield Fish and Game, which is in Agawam, which is right around the corner from my house, which is great.
Great facility.
Yeah, John and Nelson both actually gave me a call after the event and said it was great. All their kids hooked up. Like, what else do we need to say? They did a great job.
That's awesome.
So thanks to John and thanks to Nelson for going out there, using your time to help other kids. Really, it's just another way to help prep that next generation of fishermen and anglers that are going to rise through the ranks. They'll always remember that. And then let's see where they take their fishing passions in the future,
Definitely. And that's the thing, like when you're talking, especially when you're teaching kids how to fish, and these organizations are huge. We actually have an interview coming up in the next few weeks with a gentleman named Mike Bell, who's out in Ohio, who started a nonprofit that is focused on the outdoors, fishing, hunting, and specifically with archery as well. And were you aware, Sean, that the not Boys and Girls Club, that Big Brothers and Big Sisters does not allow their volunteers to take kids fishing or any kind of archery, nothing like that. So that was his primary motivation to get this started, was something that was embracing the outdoors. And I believe his organization is called Kids That Hunt and Fish Don't Deal and Steal is the name of the organization. Just
out of curiosity, do we have any background on the impetus for Big Brothers, Big Sisters not allowing that? Is it just...
I can only speculate, and as a speculation, I would think it has to do with liability.
That makes sense.
More than
Okay.
anything, yeah, I think that's probably got to deal with it. But, I mean, I think it's something that they probably just don't want to suggest in their outing because they're not necessarily sure of the skill set of the people who are watching these kids, like, or handling their events or activities and saying like, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to fish. Do you know what you're doing? Hell no. Here's a jerk bait with 3 trebles on it. Throw it around and yank it like crazy,
Yeah. Set the hook as hard as you can with a jig.
Yep. So you want to obviously be careful, anytime you're dealing with any inexperienced, not just kids, period, but like any inexperienced angler, I mean, you definitely want to watch what you're doing, and safety is always like, at a paramount, but so great. Glad that John and Nelson were able to actually get out there and do this. And I know that there is another one scheduled, I think, for later this summer, plus their social stuff. So very, very good stuff. Nelson's just jumping in here, says it was awesome. He says, great to see all the smiles. I can only imagine.
Perfect.
That's good. That's awesome.
Perfect. Have we mentioned yet that Nelson also has been made a member of the Hooks at Hoodlums Pro Staff?
Of the Hooks at Hoodlums Pro Staff. No, we haven't talked about that.
What the hell's wrong with us?
We're sons of bitches, clearly. Is that a question? No, it's true. Nelson, our own Nelson is a pro staffer for Hooks at Hoodlums now, and he's in the hook. He gets to see all the insides of the infamous, if you will, the infamous Hooks at Hoodlums pro staffers chat, and everything that comes with that, both good and bad.
The therapy sessions, all that good stuff.
I will say this, like when somebody comes in and they're just like beaten down, like they're like, I haven't caught a fish in X amount of days or X amount of weeks, or it's been a year since, or anything like that. People are just like, they get it, it really is. It's kind of a nice little area to kind of like, get your sanity back. And then, like when I caught my PB and Alex, when he caught his PB, like it's awesome. It's great. The support is awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Certified pond wreckers, all of them.
Right when you caught that, you were like, my love for you is like a rock.
I was, in fact. My love for you is ticking clock.
Yeah, there you go. We're losers.
Yeah.
We're old losers.
Did you say making fuck?
Did Oh goodness, it's late. We're not used to recording at this time. Just like it's fucking bizarro world. Like usually I'm all jacked up on coffee. I'm not jacked up on coffee right now.
Oh, I'm jacked up on coffee.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah. I made sure to get a good venti cold brew down ASAP on the ride back up. So I had errands to run. I was zipping all over the place. Stop at a light, do a little pre-production on my phone, get back over here. So, oh man, it's freaking awesome.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here that we're gonna be doing a media blitz tomorrow on this.
I think you're probably right, but just so everybody's aware, like when it comes to this tournament, like we get it, but that's also part of the reason why I felt so strongly about this extending the registration after it begins is because, for starters, this is a fundraising event, and the prizes, this isn't a big money event, it's the prizes are gear, the packs that we're going to put together. So what's nice is we'll kind of have an idea of what that number looks like, and then we can factor what our budget is for prizes, go and make Old Glory our bitch as far as collecting putting some great stuff together. And should we mention what one of the things that's going in the first place prize?
I was just going to ask if you wanted to do that. And have we decided that that's going to go to the first place prize? Or are we going to put it somewhere else? Or what are we going to do with it? Do we want to wait and maybe talk about it next week once we figure out?
Maybe
let's wait.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way, though. I think you're comfortable with me saying that we were asked if we wanted a prize from a sponsor, and we just haven't decided where it's going to go or how it's going to be presented.
Who's necessarily going to win it? Yeah.
We accepted it, and whoever wins it is going to fucking like it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Really awesome.
Yep.
Man, great stuff.
Yep. I'm trying to think of other shit I have. I've really been fucking dick deep in this tournament, and I haven't fished. I mean, I could tell everybody about the fucking the interior painting job I did on the house over the past week. That's been a blast. Or the shelves I've been putting up. What else have I done around the house? I got to try out my new electric mower today. I tried that bad Larry out.
Oh, you've got an electric mower. Look at that.
I know. I wanted one. I don't have a lot to mow in my yard, so I just said, these little electric mowers will be fine. And holy shit, did that thing kick my yard's ass today? It was great.
Speaking of new technology and lawn maintenance, I have recently seen, like the iRobot for your house. Of course, the iRobot from the Jerky Boys segment, right?
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen,
do not duct tape a knife to that damn thing.
Yeah, don't duct tape a knife to your Roomba. It's not going to end well, believe me. But the thing is with these iRobot like vacuum machines,
Bobby, I'm going on mute for a minute.
Go on mute for a moment. I'll continue.
You
telling
handle
the
this
story.
shit.
I'll handle this. I think I can fill for time. There is a lawnmower apparently that is like an iRobot for your yard. You just graph out your yard, you fire the sucker up. It's a little electronic chainsaw on wheels, and it just kind of like mows your lawn for you. Just kind of follows it all around. Kind of crazy. So very, very interesting to see how all that stuff works. Guys, we've got some tournament stuff that we're going to talk about in just a bit. And I'm not necessarily talking about the May tournament, though. I'm hoping Sean will jump back on and have some of this info for you guys. We have tournament info about Chronic Trips because Chronic Trips just wrapped up just before the weekend. And this was like a banger of a month. Like it was so unbelievably exciting, and like a lot of you guys were out there catching fish, entering fish like daily, just constantly. It's just been nonstop. So very, very exciting. I'm actually hoping that we can have in the Jigs and Bigs tournament that's about to start. I'm hoping that we can have that level of competition just going in, and I think it's going to be amazing and a whole lot of fun, a ton of fun. So with all that said, we have that, but we also have some information regarding New England bass anglers or Northeast bass anglers and a fundraising event. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and jump and talk about this now. So there was a fundraising tournament that had gone on, and Tim Jacks had sent me a message today, so I'm just going to go and rip through this here a little bit. What this was, he gave me a little recap of the Ray Reardon Scholarship Benefit Tournament at Lake Congamon in Southwick, Mass. It was hosted by Northeast Bass Anglers. Air temperature for the day was 60, and it was rainy. The water temp was anywhere from 55 to 58, and the Congamon is, for Western Mass, it's a fairly large body of water, and highly, highly pressured too. A lot of people fish over there. What else did he have to say? So the scholarship is meant to benefit a Southwick Tolland graduating senior who has plans to get a degree in the environmental field. Ray Reardon was a founding member of Northeast Bass Anglers and was an avid fisherman active in the Southwick community, and he was also a mentor and friend, as well as a loved family man. The tournament is held annually around the last weekend in April. This year's first place winner was a father and son team of Rosensky and Rosensky. It was a 19.28 pound six fish limit. Second place was Mario Santinello and his partner Rob. They came in with 17.54 pounds in total. And third place was Wanchik and Weatherall. They came in at 17.01. Fourth place was Naventi and Naventi. They had 16 pounds, and Lunker of the day, Lunker came in at 4.18 pounds for Lunker. So great day, great cause, great organization. I believe that Sean is back. Sean, do you have any information for us?
No, I'll be waiting for a phone call. Their Fishing Chaos is going to make sure that everything is set on both my end and theirs. That. Yeah. We made that phone call I made to you while I was entering the information to make sure we were all good. So We're just going through the paces here. I caught that you're doing the tournament rundown there. Do you wrap that up, or do you want me to jump in on some more tournament rundowns?
This was just about the or the scholarship fundraiser tournament for Northeast Bass Anglers. If you want to dive in, I say you go ahead and go for it. Are you ready?
Yeah. What I can do is I actually have the results for Chronic Trips.
Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pop.
How come you didn't get music before?
I don't want to interrupt you just in case you put your headphones on.
Yeah, this is going to be quick. Very, very quick because, again, I'm waiting for a callback. But Chronic Trips April wound up, and as you know, everybody's been listening, has heard me sing its praises. Seth has sung its praises. You've sung its praises watching it because this one was absolutely out of control. There were so many submissions, and a ton of people were in it. The standings changed on the last day. John Connon got out on the ocean and got a haddock and got a cod. That put him over Andy. So first place, congratulations. And as far as we can tell, first and only back-to-back winner, John Connon.
Good job, John. Nice work.
With 24 points. I believe he caught 11 species too. So as we always say, like, catching those species, that's what's going to get you to win. Yep. And then breaking 100 in the NE5, you need that. He did both. Great job, John. The loaded potato, Andy Quinn, friend of the show. Second place, 17 points. Third place, some guy named Sean the Fisherman. That fuck.
That bastard.
15 points with third place. Next two prizes, first to 100 and first to 200 inches, surprisingly enough, were the same human being. One each, Sean the Fisherman.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, records set or broken. Okay, set or broken. Austin Carlson had one. I didn't write the species down, and honestly, I'm waiting for this phone call, so we're not going to go too into the species. But Austin Carlson, John Connon set 2 records, which was good. Nelson hit 1. Blake Dodson hit 1. I hit 1. Teddy Forget hit 1 with that fucking carp.
Yep.
Mark Huard broke his own trout record. I don't know if anybody heard. Did we talk about that? He caught almost a 25-inch trout, brown trout.
For real? Oh my god.
Yeah, so nobody beat Mark in brown trout this month because that was immense. And then
wow.
Yeah, and then I believe it's TJ Swaney also broke another record. So we have 9 record prizes going out. The first to 100, first to 200 from me, yours truly.
Yep.
And then the first through the third prizes. And one thing we wanted to make sure was we picked up all our prizes at Old Glory, right?
Yep.
And I'll be right back.
Oh, well, while Sean is having this conversation on the phone here, I do want to jump in and congratulate Wild Bill Fishing from Hookset Hoodlums. He hit up the group chat today asking about recommendations for taxidermists because he's doing a replica. He caught his new PB brown trout, which is just an absolute beast. Like, look at this fish. Absolutely gorgeous fish. So he's going to do a replica, and I think that is the way to go. That's gorgeous, Bill. Congrats, man. I'm not sure what the numbers were on it, but yeah, he jumped in and was just like, yeah, I don't know if he dropped the numbers on the size of this sucker, but it was a biggin. Oh, I see. Sean has a look of either disgust or uh-oh. They fail 0.0.
No, tomorrow's Teacher Appreciation Day at my kid's school.
Okay,
that's it. Right. We're still waiting on a phone call.
A phone call. I was so excited.
Am I jumping back? Can I jump back in, or am I interrupting something?
No. Go ahead, dive in. I was just mentioning Wild Bill's new PB Brown.
Oh, I'd also like to welcome all of our patrons, our jig heads, and everyone listening to the most disjointed fucking episode we've ever done because we're waiting on phone calls.
I'm telling you, it is down to the wire. Like, it is down to the wire. That's the thing about podcasts. They are evergreen content generally, but the reality is with what we're trying to do here, there's really no good way to do it evergreen. You know, people a year from now are going to look back and be like, this was one thing that's going to be nice is people can look back and go, wow, that really slick, smooth tournament schedule they've always got going on did not start that way. So thank you guys for being a part of it. Thank you all for dealing with all of the frustration, and it has been frustrating, but
yeah,
I know in the end this is going to be amazing, and the whole idea is that it's going to benefit an amazing organization, and you know, hopefully we can make an impact by helping them make an impact on our local area. So, and you know, I should mention too that if you guys have another, especially an environmental group, like really a group that is organized with hunting or fishing, and it definitely helps if they are a legitimate 501(c)(3), reach out and make a suggestion because we would like to support other you know groups all over the country, you know, that are doing this. And I mean, of course, like we love to take care of Massachusetts and New England organizations, but like anywhere else, if there's something going on and you know, we can use one of these tournaments, you know, and hopefully they'll just get better and better and better. You know, that's the whole idea. We want to make this happen.
Exactly. You're damn right.
I just want to catch a 7 now. That's all I want in life.
We might have an opportunity for that in October, my friend. Let's see how that goes.
Yep. Or a 7-pound beignet. I mean, let's be honest. I'd be okay with that too.
Got to do that. We got to. Well, picking up where I left off. So we had our records set, and some of ours, we weren't. Seth and I were not shy about letting everyone know we went to Old Glory and picked up all the prizes for the event, which was awesome. Yep. That was really a blast because Seth had a lot of fun because not being an everyday fisherman, he hasn't seen a lot of these lures, and Joe and Mag over at Old Glory carry some different stuff, a lot of popular stuff, but they carry some different stuff. So Seth was like, "Ooh, what's this? Ooh, what does this do? Ooh, it was a learning experience for him." So it was fantastic. And I was like, "Yep, that's this, that's that, that's a jerkbait, that's crankbait, etc." We went on, we made some really good choices for prizes. Now, one of the other sponsors that really hasn't gotten a lot of mention on this was Stretching Lines.
Yep.
So I didn't even mention this because I wanted to see people get out and fish on their own, and they didn't need to be prodded with prizes on this. Everyone who submitted a fish is getting a sticker pack plus a bag of Stretching Lines plastics that Damien randomly threw in. He gave us a whole bunch of plastics. Everyone's getting one on top of any prizes they won. So thank you to Damien. Thank you to, we threw stickers in.
Yep.
So thanks to us.
I feel bad playing that sound effect on us.
Fuck that. We deserve it.
But we deserve it.
We deserve it. Yep, Dave. So thanks to Stretching Lines. Thanks to us. Thanks to Old Glory. They donated a bunch of stickers, and we're still waiting. I'm seeing Seth tomorrow. He's going to be putting in the Chronic Trip stickers. So nice little sticker pack plus a pack of Stretching Lines plastics. Give them a go whenever you get them, folks. I mean, you guys earned it. You went out there and caught a shit ton of fish.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. I mean, it really was.
Hundreds, plural, hundreds.
Yep.
There were so many submissions. So great job.
No,
that's awesome. That's all I have on Chronic Trips. We're getting the prizes out starting today. I believe Seth is coming over today, meaning Tuesday. Seth, I believe, and I are getting together in the afternoon. We're going to knock this out.
Nice.
Yep.
Sweet. That's awesome, man. I mean, we got really good stuff, and the rest of the show is pretty badass as well. Very much, a lot of people have been looking forward to this next interview that we have lined up, and that is with Big Nasty. Jeff Holloway is with us, and it's a doozy of an interview. And this is right off the heels of his trip out in Crumpton, Maryland, with Lockwood Fishing with Cody. So he's got stories, man. It was so good. And
he might have PTSD from that shit.
Quite possible, yeah. And he did say that his blood sugar took quite a hammering as well while he was there too. Because let's be honest, the man, Cody can do many things well, and cooking is one of them. So. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I mean, he's got something good happening over there. And actually, Cody had mentioned to me, he's like, "When are you and Sean going to come down?" He's like, "This has got to happen." And I think it does. I definitely think that it does. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, Schedule's just brutal.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say about my schedule. My schedule is brutal. So I just sat down with my wife and we straightened out and hammered out our vacation plans last night just for the year. So it's like,
yep.
Cody, thank you for the invite. I have no idea when we're going to get to see that.
Yeah.
But we'll try.
Yeah. May end up having to push it back to later on in the summer, and it's so funny now with the things changing a little bit for COVID. I have had a number of people reaching out for me to do various events. So, that calendar may take a bit of a hit. We'll see. These are all like the tire kickers, like I like to think of. They're asking about like availability and pricing and all that stuff. And these are all types of events. I have an event coming up this weekend at a campground where I'm hosting a game show. I haven't been there in about a year, and like it's just gonna be exciting. So we'll see what's up.
Is it gonna be like one of those kids? Do you ever watch the VH1 either Behind the Musics or Where Are They Now, or whatever the fuck they are?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see the Twisted Sister one?
Oh, yeah. It's like one of the OG episodes. It might have even been the first one.
Did you see what their reunion show was where they got hired to play Ian D. Snyder's putting on all the makeup and the shoulder pads and all that shit? It was at a nudist camp.
What? No.
Watch the end of that episode. You don't remember that?
No, that's
a bunch
crazy.
of fucking naked people dancing around yelling, "We're not going to take it." It was phenomenal.
There is a really good Twisted Sister documentary film, like sort of like a look back at the band's history, how they started, all that stuff, and like, you know, just how they kind of like without any label, without anything, took over Long Island and New York City. Like really, they were playing big rooms, doing this all independent, really making things happen. And another thing about Twisted Sister, first album, the Stay Hungry album, first album I ever bought with my money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was that album, Stay Hungry.
Wow.
Yeah.
My first one was Metallica and Justice for All.
Oh, really?
Set me down a path. Yeah, because I still think Blackened is my favorite metal song of all time, even though there's no bass. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I had a little, it was a tape, and I had a little shitty Panasonic fucking 16-inch boombox, and you know what? It didn't matter that it didn't have bass.
Yeah, you wouldn't have heard it on there anyway. You'd have been like...
You know what? Speaking of, we're going to go off on a music tangent, this is the most disjointed episode ever. Did you see the French progressive death metal band Gojira just put out their new CD this week?
I didn't know they put out a new release, but I'm familiar. Yeah.
So I actually went down to our little favorite store, our little favorite local music store, the Music Outlet is it Hazardville or is it still Enfield? It's Enfield, right?
Yeah, I think it's Enfield at that point.
It's on the line with Enfield and Hazardville, right over the line in Connecticut. And I picked up the new copy, and Gojira is one of 3 bands that I will go out and buy new music of when it comes out, like immediately.
Yep.
Gojira, Clutch, and King's X, and it looks like King's X might be wrapping up their careers because their drummer has a lot of health problems.
Yeah.
Those 3 bands, if I hear they're putting out a new CD or new music, whatever, I go that week. So Gojira's new CD, they've been getting a lot of press. And one of the interviews, the rhythm guitarist / vocalist for Gojira said they had toured with Metallica in stadiums, in 2017, I think was, yeah. My father, I had mentioned on the show, my father and my brother and my oldest son, we all went to that show.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Gojira did not open for Metallica on the East Coast. We got Avenged Sevenfold and Volbeat, and I do not give a rat's ass about Avenged Sevenfold. We missed it, and I'm happy with that. I wanted to see Gojira on that tour again, but they did the West Coast, and apparently there was some interplay between the Metallica soundboard guy and Gojira, and Joe Duplantier had to borrow James Hetfield's earpiece one day for, I don't know if it was for sound check or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said to the sound engineer, "I can't hear the drums." And he goes, "I know, that's the way James likes it. So James Hetfield keeps time for Metallica. And Lars plays off him. So a drummer whose job is to keep time in a song and in a band does not do that for Metallica. James Hetfield keeps the time with his guitar. How insane is that? Well, your mind is fucking blown as a drummer right now.
Yeah, but if you ever played, I mean,
no, I know. We're not. I don't
say, but yeah, if you've ever played with, I mean, I can see it. Have you seen video of Lars recently?
I have
seen to wonder how long ago. Like what?
Where people insert derp in there.
Like how long ago did you? Like I'm wondering at what point in their career did James Hetfield make the decision where he was like, "Hey, can you take the drums out of my mix? Can you eliminate that? We're going to get this son of a bitch to just follow me."
Yeah.
You know, like at what point was it? Was it Justice? Was it Master of Puppets? Or was it like after Load and Reload?
Or was it the first day they started?
That could have been it too.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever see that video? It was the Big Four tour in Europe. Now, I know for some reason, when it comes to Metallica, the European shows are always fantastic.
Yep.
We get shafted over here in the States. So they did a Big Four concert with, the big 4 bands of thrash, Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax. They played one show in New York City.
Yeah.
And then they did an entire tour of it across Europe, including some festivals. They were the 4 headliners.
How long ago was this?
20.
All right, so it wasn't like ages
16.
and ages ago. Okay.
No, it was 26, maybe 2017. I don't think it was 2018. It was pre-2020.
Okay.
But they went and did those tours and came back to America and played one show. And I didn't even bother. I'm like, I'm not going to New York to see this shit.
Yeah.
But during that tour in Europe, Lars missed a show. There was an incident. I guess he had to go to the hospital for something. And that was a festival date, and I think it was in Austria. And Dave Lombardo from Slayer
filled in.
And Joey Jordison from Slipknot both filled in. And
really?
Dave Lombardo played Battery. And you see Hetfield look over his shoulder in the middle of this and go, what the fuck? So this is what it's like to have a drummer. It was nuts.
I'm going to just share this. I'm not going to out anybody or anything like that, but I recently had heard a story about Metallica and Lars, and it revolved around Lars's practice schedule. It was just interesting.
I'll be
Let's
right back.
Go ahead and take it. Okay, so here is the call. So while Sean's going to take this call, and we're going to figure out if we can drop this information, because we're going to be wrapping things up shortly, guys. We've been milking this for a while now, waiting for this call, and I do apologize for that. We're going to go ahead and figure out what's going on, but we have an amazing rest of the show for you guys. Like I said, we got Big Nasty, we got Jeff Holloway. He's going to be doing some sharing of fishing stories, and he's got a doozy of one as well. You trust me, you're gonna like this. Jeff is a really, really good guy. He's a huge personality, and I think you're really just going to enjoy all that. So looking forward to that. The tournament launches very, very soon. Make sure to get your Fishing Chaos app downloaded, create your profile, get all that stuff together, and figure out what works best for you as far as, if you want to just do individual versus some type of a subscription or anything. Figure out what works for you. Now, Sean is off the phone.
Gears are turning, sir. There's some phone calls being made from headquarters to headquarters to ensure there are no backlogs, et cetera. We're going to get to the bottom of this. So... best I can tell you. There's your update.
We will. Do we have anything else, Sean, that we need to cover that we missed out on?
I want to hear the rest of your Lars practice story.
Oh, I don't know. I can't really.
Is it rude? I just told the Dave Lombardo story, which is news, but it's been in the news. So.
Yeah, this is. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but yeah, it might be. But yeah, it's also not the first time I've heard some stories. I can imagine. It is what it is,
I don't feel I feel okay with telling those stories because they were on Blabbermouth and Metal Injection, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I have another phone call. Oh my goodness.
Guys, what we're gonna do is this. We're just gonna go and throw to our next segment, our interview right here. And what we'll do is we'll come back around and do our outro, and hopefully we'll have some news for you there regarding our tournament. So we'll be right back after this short message from Three Bells Outfitters. Remember, life is better on the water. They got the trifecta coming up. Information coming out about that very, very soon. And we'll be talking at the other end of this interview, and hopefully we've got some good stuff for you. Sit right there. We'll be right back after this with Three Bells Outfitters. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Alrighty, guys, Bobby Roast Beef here. It's our interview segment right now, and I've been sitting on doing this one for a little while. I had a short conversation with our guest, and well, it was based on his suggestion that we push this off until the completion of one of the latest fishing adventures. We're going to dive right in with that in a major way. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jeff Holloway with us. Big Nasty 186 on Instagram, definitely making waves after your appearance on the Hookset Hoodlums Fishing for Answers, man. How you doing? How's things?
Good, man. Good. I just got back from Maryland yesterday, and then I went fishing at 6:30 this morning to get my trout fix.
Oh, there you go.
On the fly rod. So
nice, very nice, man. So let's dive in. Let's talk about what you've been up to recently as far as fishing and stuff. We'll definitely pay some attention to Maryland because we had Cody on Lockwood Fishing. We had Cody on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was a great interview. I mean, he is, and the thing is with the two of you guys are both such huge personalities. You know what I mean? You both of you are the type of, there's a group chat in the Hookset Hoodlums pro staff, and in that group chat, you guys shine as far as what you're bringing to the table for all kinds of stuff. So tell me about your trip and everything else. How was it? How was it down there?
So, I mean, obviously, I never knew Cody since, I never met him before since Hookset Hoodlums. So we were chatting, and I seen, his Instagram and his content and stuff. And I'm like, yo, this dude is right up my alley.
Yeah.
The way his personality is, I mean, the way you could tell he loves fishing. And we just got talking, and he's like, dude, come on down and I'll show you this water. I was just super impressed. So I was like, you know what? And I'll tell you right now, Bobby, is that a lot of people are talkers. They'll say, oh yeah, I'll come down. We'll make plans. Dude, I'm a doer. Yeah. If I see something and I want to experience it, I go and do it.
Yeah.
And I make the time. So I went down there, and I'll tell you, Cody is a guy that you would want to be friends with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
The hospitality that he showed me there was unbelievable.
That's awesome.
When we went fishing, I'll tell you right now, and I can't believe the knowledge this dude has on bass fishing.
It's true. It
is freaking ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
I got right back in the bait caster that I haven't used since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And here I am slinging these monster jigs, and he's like, oh, dude, go eat them. He gave me a thing that looked like a freaking 5-pound lobster, dude. I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? He's like, oh, no, they will eat it. Believe me, there's a reason why I gave it to you.
Yep. That's awesome.
So, I mean, we crushed. He basically, he fished. I mean, he caught some really big fish, but he basically catered to me. You know what I mean? He basically wanted me to have an experience of his water.
Yep.
That he fishes. And I give mad respect for that. And, one day, I swear to God, dude, I pounded these weed beds, these mats. If I didn't throw 1,000 casts, he's like, just keep casting, Nasty. Just keep casting. Just keep casting. That's all he would hear in the background for 30 minutes. And I would hook up onto a bass, catch one, hook up onto a bass, lose it. And I was casting every 10 feet. It was literally every 10 feet.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This is crazy, But we had a blast. And I'll tell you right now, that dude could cook. He could cook some food, bro.
That's awesome. Because it's funny because so when you mention he's got a wealth of knowledge, it's true. That's one of the things that many of us in that group chat have spoken about here and there is that, as crazy as Cody's stories can be, and, as much of a character as he is, he'll just drop a little nugget of info, and it's just mind blowing. You're like, holy crap, and it's the same thing, which is not unlike yourself because if anybody has a conversation with Wild Bill and his outings with you, he's like, Jeff is somebody who just truly understands reading water and current and knows what the hell's happening, and he's just got way more knowledge than most people could ever hope to kind of acclimate on their own, sort of gather an experience cognitively. So, I mean, that's like when these two forces kind of come together, it definitely makes sense. But his and your Instagram stories, when he was just killing it in the kitchen, I'm like, there you go, man. There you go. I mean, because that's what he wants to eventually start doing, is creating like almost like a guided retreat, like all inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's genius, because it's such a niche type situation. It's this small body of water in Maryland. It's not one of these like huge name lakes that you hear about where you're like, yeah, we're going to go and, we're going to kill Champlain, or we're going to go to Eufaula or Lake Fork or something, that's on somebody's bucket list. But you have this amazing time with someone guiding you who's got like the experience put in to kind of make it happen. I think he's got the makings to make it a huge success.
So, I mean, he has a big idea coming up. I don't want to drop it all, because I'll let him do it.
Oh yeah,
but it will be awesome if it happens. It'll be awesome, basically, for all of us. But when I first came down to the bank and I saw the canoe, because I had to see the famous canoe.
I know,
and
man.
I was like, yo, I said, we're two big dudes, bro. I'm pushing 230, 235, and he's up there too. So over that, and I'm like, we're gonna tip this, but dude, those little pontoon things that he put on there,
yeah, they work.
Are boss, dude.
Really?
And they're not even that big. Look, you saw him just jump right up in the canoe, and we were balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of times me and him were standing together going down this creek, and we're just hitting tree laydowns, brush piles, lily pads, and we're just canoeing down like a really thin piece of water, and then it widens out. And then it goes into this like pond with a dam.
Huh.
And the first time when he was like, dude, we're going to throw these big jigs, and I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, listen, the beavers, as you could tell, they put a lot of junk. And I bet you as a kid throwing jigs for the first time, you would throw it and you would think that jigging it is you have to hammer it up hard and let it come down. Mm-hmm. You're jigging.
Yep.
We were dragging.
Oh, yeah.
We were dragging these
definitely.
Baits. And I didn't, I never knew this. So I'm dragging these baits. I'd hit a tree or a branch down under the water because the beavers push the sticks down there.
Yep.
I mean, you get hung up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You get hung up a lot. But I'll tell you, it's worth the reward, because when you feel that vibration and that's not a stick or a tree, and you set the hook, dude, it is on. The excitement.
Yep.
The excitement that he brings to the table just fires you up even more.
Oh, definitely.
And it's totally contagious.
Yeah.
And I had the best time, and I hope that other people can experience not just the water, but Cody as a person.
Yep.
Because that's a good dude.
Yeah.
Whether I went there fishing or not, I could have spent 4 or 5 days with him just hanging out.
Yeah, that's the best that's the best sort of situation. Is like, it's one thing to go and fish and say like, I went out with this person that's got all this knowledge of all this area and I caught fish, but it's another thing when you're just like, holy shit, I had an amazing time while I was there.
Yeah.
That's just like it's gravy. That's huge. Nice, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So you guys did really well. What were the numbers like? What were you guys doing as far as size of fish and numbers?
So he caught, I would probably say, he caught 4 big whoppers. Yep. Dude. He was they were all. One, it was kind of funny because we were so excited we didn't even measure the fish. We were just like, "This is great," and he just he goes, "Nasty, nasty." We didn't even measure fish, and I'm like, he's like, "We forgot." I said, "Hey, who cares? We just know it's big, And that's how I am also when I trout fish. I'm just everybody's like, "Yo, dude, what is that? 24?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just know it's fucking big."
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, that's really all you got to know.
And the biggest thing too, at the end of the day, I always tell people, and I'm sure you read it in my Instagram post, dude. It's about the adventure, man. It's about getting to the point where you are to put that fish in your hands. Yeah. That's the biggest part. Catching fish is a bonus. We are blessed to be able to do this.
Oh yeah.
So if people take it too seriously, it just makes me laugh because I always say, if you can't laugh and have a good time, you ain't fishing and you ain't living.
Yeah.
You got to reevaluate yourself.
You're 100%
if you're not
right.
having fun.
Yeah, you got to be able to enjoy the process. When you're out there, the good, the bad, everything that comes with it. It's all inclusive.
Yeah. So when we were out there, he caught the one fish he measured was 20 inches on the dot, and he caught the other three that were probably close to it. If not, one was definitely bigger.
Nice.
So. And then I was catching I would probably say 16s, 18s. Like some of the ones I posted, a couple of them maybe were 15s. But I'll tell you, the fish are plentiful.
Yeah.
And every time you throw that jig into that water, that river system, because it's really a river,
yep.
you don't know what you're going to get. You can get your personal best, and then the next cast you could get your personal best, then the next cast you can get your personal best.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that is a place that is just absolutely magical. And I told him, I'm like, dude, you are so lucky, and he knows how lucky he is to have that to himself, and a few others, But we didn't see anybody the whole entire time. It was just me and him.
That's amazing. Like, because that's the thing. The word would travel, with an area that where fishing is that good, where, like the system, the ecosystem there, and the genes of the fish that are in that ecosystem are of that high caliber of quality. You'd expect that to be a destination where people would just want to be all over it. So the fact that it's like a hidden gem in the middle of nowhere is crazy.
So what's crazy too is that they're not just feeding on crawfish. They're just not feeding on frogs.
Yep.
Cody threw a 6-inch articulated mouse, a rat.
Oh, yeah.
And he hammered that big one that we didn't even measure. I mean, it was definitely a male. It was long and lean.
Yep.
It didn't look like a spawned out female. And dude, I watched him get 4 blow-ups on that. And I'm just like, I'm like, dude, and it's funny because I told him, I said, dude, I use mice all the time for fly fishing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, dude, a trout hits a mouse? I said, oh, yeah. I said, the big savage brown trout, the meteors? Oh, yeah. But it was, that place has a dam where on the bottom of the dam, we went to the dam, and dude, there were, what the heck is it called? The bait fish there. Not mackerel, whatever that comes from the ocean there.
Is it herring that goes through?
Yes, herring. Yep. So the herring come up, and dude, they're like, I don't know, probably like 6 inches smaller, and they have a fish ladder there. So some of them get into that lake. I mean, and those bass are just like, there's candy, and they're just going crazy. Yep. So we were throwing big articulated like swim baits that look like freaking fish and shit. Yeah. And I'm just like, for somebody who doesn't do it that much, I know in my mind that it works. Yeah. But when I throw it, I'm like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, there's always that little bit of doubt. It's the same thing. Fly fishing or I'm a big thing for me is finesse fishing. So I'm always looking to downsize, keep things as natural. I fish a lot of clear water. Fishing like super stained water isn't necessarily what I'm all that familiar with. So in clear water, finesse is the way to go. So like the first time I started throwing jigs, it's so funny you bring up the rat, because Todd Grubb had made the suggestion that he's like, I'm telling you, he's like, for a fun top water bait, he's like, that Spro rat is amazing, the biggest one that they've got. So I picked one up, and it's a big fish collar. It's like suddenly I'm starting to understand that big baits do find big fish.
And you know what, it was something that Cody told me. He's like, listen, if you're going to choose a bait for this river system, because he knows it so well, you need something that displaces water. You need something that's going to move the water to trigger these bass. So the big rat, I mean, it put out a wake. You looked like you could surf on it, but if you crank that slow and pause it, and then crank it a little bit and pause it, right up against those the weed lines and the banks, your anticipation, you're almost shaking. Yeah, because you're waiting. Yep. And I missed a lot of topwater blowups actually on the Whopper Plopper. Yep. For life, Freaking Billy Whopper Pop.
Oh yeah, loves them.
But dude, they work.
They
And
do.
my problem was I wasn't expecting to blow up, and then it blows up, and I miss it. So, but I was also too a finesse guy. I did a lot of worms.
Yep.
I did a lot of my favorite rig is I would do the Carolina rig. It's my favorite.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Out of all the rigs, and I was just used to doing that for so many years because you can drag it on the bottom, you can move it inch by inch near a bed, or you could swim it right through, and you can also make it it's weedless, so you can throw it to the lilies. You could, do that type of stuff.
Yeah, drag it right through the grass, and
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because I learned from this old guy years ago who told me, he said, "Listen, take a buzz bait, take a top water, and just rip it. If you get a reaction bite, then pick up your finesse rod and throw the plastic.
Yeah.
And then and you'll get them 80% of the time.
Yep.
That's a high number rating if it does work like that, and it does work.
Oh, definitely.
Could not believe it. I could not, because at least you're pinpointing where there's fish.
That's exactly it. Once you found them, then it's like, that's sort of the way I feel like with the jig. Like I'll use whatever it is that I'm using, and then I'll start using the jig to try to find the big fish. If there's size down there, I'm gonna go for it. Let's jump in and get some. Actually, no. Finish what you were gonna say.
What I do want to say is, though, over there in that river system, real quick, is that you could catch a lot of 1.5, 2 pounders if you want to.
Yep.
But that's fishing. But he told me, he's like, listen, we're going for the big one. That's why we're throwing these jigs. That's why we're throwing these big baits. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I told him, I said, that's what I'm looking for. I don't care if I don't catch anything at all. Yep. At least I know I tried.
Yeah.
Or if we catch one, but the thing's going to be a whopper.
Exactly. Yep.
So
that's awesome, man. Freaking sounds great. Like an awesome time. Just what was it yesterday? He was saying, I think he said to Sean, he goes, "When are you and Bobby going to come down?" And he goes, "Soon. We're going to make it down there." He's like, "There's a spot for you, Stretch. I got you." So it's all just a matter of time and fitting it in with the schedule.
Yeah, of course.
So why don't you tell me, Jeff, some of your background as far as how it was that you discovered fishing, and then also like kind of walk me down the road to where the passion kind of was ignited in you, and then you brought it to the point where now like you're taking some of the best fishing photography, and like you've got like adventures going on that people talk about like it's legendary. You know what I mean? Kind of walk me through that whole process.
Okay, so I was probably steelhead fishing like 20 years ago up in upstate New York with a friend of mine. And basically we would target the steelhead with a fly rod, because the fly rod, you get more chances of basically keeping your bait in the water.
Yeah.
Keeping your flies or keeping the egg sacs, whatever you're using, because it's a drift and basically a roll cast. You're not throwing out and retrieving.
Yeah.
So I did that for, like I said, many a years. And then about 6 years ago, the same guy that guided us out there a few times and let us stay in his cabins, in the summertime would guide the Housatonic River, because it's a different scenery than constantly guiding the same river every day, all winter, all spring, and fall,
Yep.
So he guided us, and I told Bill, I said, I seen the best hatch I've ever seen, and I caught my biggest fish on a fly rod, because I was, targeting trout that I never really targeted with a fly rod like that before, off of a drift boat. And to be honest, right there, I was hooked. I said, I'm going to come back and catch all these fish.
Yeah.
And I dove right into it, like shoulders deep instantly. Then I got lucky enough to learn from some of the best fly fishermen. When I went out to Colorado, I was still new into it in 2018, because I consider myself new, because every day you can learn something, and that
for sure
from anybody.
Yep.
But I met guys that wanted to teach me, wanted to show me the ways of how to catch these fish out in the Rocky Mountains, techniques, fly selection. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting fly rods. I'm getting better reels. I'm getting stuff for, I don't want to say, I get everything for free, but I was getting a lot of shit for free.
Yeah.
You know, when you're getting fly rods custom made for you for free, you're doing something.
That's crazy.
You know,
man. That's awesome.
Or fly reels, or you meet guys that are amazing fly tires, and they're sending you stuff to try out, and I'm just super blessed.
Yeah.
Super blessed. But yeah, I got into it, and then I started to just develop better pictures. Learning the ways that people do things, and basically proper etiquette
Yeah.
on fishing, because dude, when you were a kid and you caught a sunny, that thing was on the bank for 10 minutes, and you were excited before you put it back in the water.
Exactly.
The thing was probably mummified before you put it back in.
Yep.
But
there was a catfish that was going to eat that sucker. That was it. That was it.
Oh yeah, but dude, remember, like, a lot of people don't realize I'm a traveling worker. I've been all over the country. I also I just got back from Japan last year.
Yep.
In March, around I've seen a lot. I've been everywhere. I fished everywhere. I met amazing people, and because of Instagram, I want to be talking to you today.
Yeah. Instagram's huge.
You wouldn't ever hear my story or see my stories or know who I was because of Instagram.
Definitely.
It's just an amazing way to learn new things.
Oh, for sure. Like it's amazing the way it can connect everybody. And, the fishing community has always been strong. People fish, and, not that long ago, I think I made the association. I was like, fishing almost has a deeper connection than deeper than music, because it's ancient, it's been going on forever. People have been trying to capture creatures from underwater since they were, walking, it's like,
absolutely.
It's just, that's the way it is. And the same thing goes, like, banging on a drum. It's like, this is like one of those ancient things, like, and it's the technology has definitely changed. And when you look at things like, Google Earth, come on. Now you've got literally in your back pocket, you can go and look up any spot you want. It's like the game has totally changed. Although fishermen have changed too. We're a whole lot more diverse than we were, even 20 years ago, which is cool, because I like seeing the sport grow, and even with it's funny. I have this question in here where it's like, what are your favorite types of bodies of water to fish? Ponds, lakes, or rivers? I would assume that rivers are your go-to, but with that question there, what is your favorite type of body of water to go and fish, and what size? What is it about your favorite rivers or your favorite creeks that kind of get your attention?
Actually, I love lake fishing and pond. Yeah. So what we would consider a pond on the East Coast, out west, they call a lake. It's a lot different because they're coming off the Rocky Mountains. So they have a lot of high country lakes, and they just have amazing cutthroats. So it's not just enjoying the hike, getting up to a lake that nobody will be.
Yeah.
But we also find it because of Google Earth. And it's kind of funny that you said that. I was actually talking to my buddy last night, and we were Googling Earth places all over up in northern Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
You just find everything. And then you go on, CPW fishing, and then you can know exactly what species are in that Pacific lake.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. And people don't know that.
Great. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you're going to be like, I'm going to check it out. And holy shit, he's right, dude. It'll tell you if there's bass, pike, pickerel, trout, and then the species of trout, lake trout, cutthroat trout, rainbow trout, brown trout. It's insane. So go on that app.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out, dude. It's insane. But the reason why I like to do a lot of lake fishing is because people don't realize reading structure in lake is also like you're reading the river. And I was telling Bill and the other guys this during my fishing for answers. You're looking for weed lines. You're looking for down trees. You're looking for where the fish have their ambush points. So I'm also looking for transitions in a river where it goes from shallow to deep. The cuts around the bends, they're going to be underneath the undercuts. That's the stuff I'm looking for. Lay down trees, That's where a lot of big browns hang out,
Yep.
So it's not that much different.
No, it makes sense. It definitely. I think in a lot of situations, the only real difference may be the current.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love because the thing about lakes and ponds, they have a lot of bugs. There's a lot of food, leeches, scuds, freshwater shrimp. Then you get the bugs coming off, the midges. You're getting all these caddis. You're getting all these hatches. People don't understand when you see a lake that's like glass, and then all of a sudden it starts boiling with fish. It is the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah.
And you don't even know where to cast. You're like, where do I even cast?
Yeah.
Just forward,
Yeah, it's just pick a spot at that point,
Oh, yeah.
I have, it's funny too, because like I forget what the documentary was, but there was a documentary I was watching and they were talking about the mayfly hatch with like really amazing slow motion video of like what's happening and just the sheer amount of, for the fish, food that's available. And you don't realize how large of a percentage of the fish's population of their diet that makes up. So
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. It is.
If you ever YouTube, Bobby, the life cycle of like a mayfly, from it being in its shuck into larvae, then it comes up to be a nymph, then it goes into an emerger, then it comes out into a fly.
Yep.
So when I rig my fly line to what flies I want to use, I kind of simulate that stages all the way up to the top. I'm going to throw a larvae pattern, so it's hitting the bottom. Then I'm going to throw a nymph where it's in the middle of the water column.
Yep.
And then I'll try to throw an emerger so it looks like it's coming out of the water. So you're hitting 3 parts of the water column.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would be so much into bugs until I got into fly fishing.
Yeah. Oh, that makes it. And I assume you tie a bunch of your own flies as well, right?
I'll tie the bigger stuff like some woolly buggers. The smaller stuff I really can't because I really never put myself in the position to really learn it. But if I have to whip something up that's bigger, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the smaller stuff, I'll call a friend or I'll tie at their house and just mess around.
Yep.
My thing is, it's like, I'd rather just, fuck it, I just want to be out in the water.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because like lure making is a whole other art on its own. Whether you're tying flies. When I was young, when I was in high school, I'll never forget this. A good friend of mine had a neighbor who we used to shovel a bunch of driveways. And after we were done shoveling his driveway, this guy was a huge fisherman, and he was like, "I'm going to show you some of the lure making stuff that I do, and show you how to make your own stuff." And he made spinner baits. And it was amazing. Like, I mean, all types of spinners, inline spinners, like traditional spinner baits. I mean, you name it. And just, once I actually saw like, oh, you can actually make this stuff on your own. I mean, I was probably like 15 years old. I was like, you can actually do this stuff on your own. That's crazy. At that point, all the fishing I had ever done was live bait. All of it, shiners, night crawlers, you name it. Yeah, everything was live bait. There was no technique at all other than, floating on a bobber or, oh no, we're gonna use a sinker today is what we're gonna use.
Yeah, I feel they're on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what I think. I think they're on the bottom. And I like it's amazing. So when I kind of discovered that, I was like, oh, all right. So like, there's much more to fishing, and I grew up about a half hour's walk, maybe 45 minutes from the Swift River. Yeah.
Super technical.
Yeah. Crazy.
Super technical.
And it has haunted me from my childhood. I have never hooked a fish there at all. I think my father has every once in a while. He doesn't do any fly fishing or anything, but he, like conventional tackle and with live bait, I think he's hooked a couple of stalker rainbows down there. But that fishery has great, like, amazing trout population. There's further down, there's great smallmouth. Like there's a lot of good stuff in that body of water. So it's like, I would see people out there fly fishing, and you always figure it's like, oh, it's top water. They're throwing this fly and it lands on top of the water, and then you're waiting for the fish to come up. But when you look a little bit deeper into that, there's a whole other science and art to what's going on. Like you said, throwing a nymph, and then you're somewhere in the middle column, or throwing something that's based on the bottom, and you really you kind of have to immerse yourself in this ecology to learn how to mimic it, and do it the right way. It's amazing.
Because what you're trying to do, Bobby, is that you're trying to present this bug that it's keying on as natural as possible.
Exactly.
So you want to get the slowest drift. That's why they do a lot of mending, they call it, where they take the line and they kind of roll it upriver because it helps slow your drift. Or sometimes you got to mend it downriver, all depending on river current. The thing about the Swift River, and I'll tell you a funny story real quick, is that when I went there, I didn't know how. I knew it was after seeing it, how crystal clear it is. I'm like, oh man, this thing's technical. But I took my background from Colorado fishing so much clear water, and so I caught probably about 6 fish. And I left this run, and I was walking up, and these guys come down to me, and they're like, dude, you just caught like 6 fish in like 30 minutes, and like 30, 45 minutes. I said, yeah. They're like, dude, that's unheard of. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, the Swift River is known for, if you caught 1, you did good. If you caught 2, you were amazing. And I'm like, really? At the end of the day, I caught over a baker's dozen. I caught 13. And every time I go there, I catch fish, and I just don't get, what people are doing. Or are they doing something different than I'm doing? Why am I catching all these fish? But it's just funny because when I see people on the river, I want to help. I give people flies. I give people tips. I give them my spot just so they can get on fish.
Yeah.
Because you know it and I know it. The biggest thing about, you want to have a good time. You don't want, I would never want to go to a river and say, screw this, I'm not doing it anymore. I can't do this. Like, you don't want that attitude.
No, exactly.
To have somebody to help you and show you. And for more people on the water, that means more people help protect our water.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. It's funny you say that, because there's most fishermen that you talk to, they talk about like always leaving it cleaner than when they got there, taking trash out. But when you see some of the things that are in there, it's undeniably like stuff from fishermen. Like, when I see a Gary Yamamoto bag, that's not mine, and I walk up there and I'm like, oh, it wasn't a hiker that left that by, Yeah. But so it's like, it's just but you're right. The more people that there are out there, the better example that we can provide, the better it'll be. Up here, we have this amazing organization called Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. Started as just like a grassroots. It started as a Facebook group, actually. Just a handful of people. They wanted to get together and organize cleanups of like some nasty waters that were just all choked up with garbage. And they turned it into a 501c. Like, they're a legit organization now. So when we do our tournament in May, we're going to do that as a portion of the proceeds that come in are going to go toward them, so that like they need tons of trash bags. I think they removed I forget the exact number of tons of garbage they moved out, but right in the city where I am, which is, it's super, like, I love urban fishing. It's probably one of my favorite things, because of like that you have like concrete jungle all around you. You walk through like that one line of trees, and it's like a whole other world. Like, I just think it's amazing. But they took so many tons of garbage out from this one area. Like, they're really, really killing it. So like, the more people that are out there that are, actually practicing this, the better it'll be for everybody. Yeah.
And that's because all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I love fishing. I love this river. I love this lake. I don't want it to turn into shit.
Yep.
In 5 years, because I want to bring my kids here.
Yes, exactly.
Eventually.
Yep.
It's like, I tell people that, listen, just leave your footprints, man. It's not hard. Do you know how many times I've seen literally a 30-pack of beer thrown in like a bush, and the garbage can was 10 feet away from it?
Yep. You're like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God.
If I had $1,
this is crazy.
For every
this is crazy.
tiny bottle of Fireball I saw at a body of water in Massachusetts, I could retire. Like, oh my God. It's just crazy, man.
So for being out west, what we would do is we would fill up our fly fishing nets full of the garbage and take it out.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Since you got a bag, that's your bag. So when you're walking out, just pick up what you saw on the way. At the end of the day, when you go home, just start picking up the garbage. There's actually a company, I forget where they're from, and it's called Bank Bag, and it actually hooks onto your belt, and it's like a mesh bag, and you can put it. It's super light. You really don't even know it's there. And as you travel, you could put the garbage right in the bag. It's low profile. I forget what company it is. I'll find out and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But it really helps as you're fishing. You also help cleaning up the river.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Or the lakes or ponds or whatever body of water. Yeah. But it's a super awesome idea, though. It's called the Bank Bag.
It's a great idea, especially like when you think, one of the things that I notice all the time is whenever I have to retie, I've got a bunch of tag ends and they end up going in my pockets, which is no problem. But I'm always like, I'll take my keys out and then I'm looking around on the ground to make sure I didn't drop any like loose pieces of fluorocarbon or anything like that. And it happens, or like soft plastics and stuff like that. So something like that, even if, it's just for yourself, imagine how much you could save if you just like manage to like keep a bag with you, whether it's something that's like catered like for that or something, and just like have all your stuff all together and chuck it, if you
absolutely.
It's awesome. I got to know this. I'm curious about this question. So this one here, because you kind of made a point to it before. Like, I'm a big believer in, there's a million reasons why people fish. Some people, it's a competitive thing. Sometimes it's competitive with themselves. It's about record keeping. Some people, it's like, just the relaxation. And for a lot of people, it's social. Like, they'll go out and like, a good group of friends or a good group of people fishing together and having a good time. You could have the worst day of fishing, but it would still be the best experience. Like, it could save the day.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
What are your like top 3 people that you would love to fish with, and they can be living or dead?
Ooh, living or dead. It's kind of funny because I'm going to go to my childhood.
Okay.
And it's got to be Jimmy Houston.
Oh, Jimmy Houston.
His personality is just boom through the roof. There's a guy that I met out in Colorado when I first went out there and became a really good friend of mine, and his name is Chris Hansen. He's an amazing fly fisherman. It's his Instagram is at Chris J Hansen. Check him out, dude. His page is insane.
Nice.
Thirdly, I would probably say if I can do it all over again, it would probably be my Aunt Pat, because my Aunt Pat was the only fly fisherman in the family. She would actually fly fish the Riverton Chair Factory where she worked every lunch break. She was like the lady that would be out in the river just slaying it from as soon as it was early morning, old school. And I never got to fish with her. And I wish I just saw her on the river. Like, I could picture it.
Yep.
But imagine just to see something like that in person would be that, to experience it with, that would have been awesome.
Absolutely.
That would have been so awesome.
No, that is pretty dope. And I think when I ask somebody that question, they always like, there's always like those superstar anglers or people that have a reputation. Like, there was, I forget who the guest was, but somebody said, "Oh, I'd love to fish with The Rock," and I was like, The Rock is actually a very accomplished bass fisherman. Like, he's very, very good,
Yeah.
And sometimes it just goes over folks' heads. I don't remember what it was. I had, we had an episode with a bunch of local beer makers. And some were, more heavily into fishing than others. And it was a really, really great interview. But when I asked that question, there was always like some type of like celebrity or somebody, whether it be from their childhood or something. And then there was always that family element, like, oh, I never got to go on a fishing trip, with my grandfather, or something like that. I'd love to go back and do that. Or I haven't fished with my grandfather or even my father since I was, such and such an age. I'd like to go and, have this experience with like the things I've learned now. So there's always like, when it comes to fishing, there's always something personal there, it's amazing.
That's a tough 3 question though,
it is.
because it too, because like you said, I used to go with my dad. My dad used to be like, you cut that lawn before dark, we're heading to the, Matthews Park.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm running with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Dude.
They're like, let's just
You
get
know,
this.
the lawn looks like shit.
Yep.
But I'm, you know what I mean? I'm cranking through it.
Exactly.
And then there's just more people that I can't say thank you enough.
Yeah.
For not just being my friend and knowing me as a person, but helping me, do a sport and become better.
Yep.
The better version of me as a fly fisherman, the best fly fisherman I can be.
Yep.
I mean, there's just so many,
No, 100%. Now, you've obviously traveled places with the intent of fishing. Is there a certain body of water that you're like, yep, that's the one. That's the bucket list spot that you want to fish?
New Zealand.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I haven't had many fly fishermen on the show, but any of them I have said New Zealand. Like, I forget what there's one guest that we had on that had mentioned a specific body of water where the food source in this body of water is endless, and these trout will just gorge themselves.
That's Jurassic Park in Patagonia.
Yeah.
I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, that's also it has to do with the land and the soil. It's not just not so much the bugs, like, you fish these limestone rivers out, like I was just out in Pennsylvania or down in Virginia or, down the East Coast there. That really helps the fish's lifespan.
Yep.
Because these limestones have a lot of spring creeks. They don't freeze because all that's coming up from the bottom stays the same temperature.
Okay.
That has a lot to do with everything. And then that's what has a lot to do with its food source to feed these fish.
Yep.
That's
awesome, man. That is freaking awesome. This one, because you've been fishing for a long time, I'm curious what you have to say. But you know the saying about fishing tackle is designed to catch more fishermen than actually catch fish. In your lifetime, what do you think the most ridiculous fishing tackle, or even just overall gear trend, has been the most ridiculous? And the follow up to that is, have you used it, and how did it work?
Banjo minnow.
Banjo minnow, yeah.
So my dad, he loves infomercials for some reason, and if it's anything with fishing, he would order it for me. He wouldn't ask me; he would just order it. And then all of a sudden, one day, the banjo minnow came up, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, I don't even know how to use it. I'm trying to watch the TV commercials every time, trying to figure out how to rig it, and it actually works really well because it really gave a life-like movement. And when they say you could catch anything from stripers to bass to crappie, perch, trout, I mean, it does catch it all. And it just all depends. It could be, it's weird because just like when me and me and Cody were fishing, we were fishing these monster jigs. Then we went to literally a finesse rubber heavy jig head that was probably 2 inches long, and that's when he caught his monster on that.
Oh, no kidding.
And then we were like, maybe we figured something else. Then I banged out 2 right away. And we're like, oh my God, like, the clouds just parted, dude.
Yeah.
We figured something out, like, because we had that span of say 2 hours not catching fish, and we're like, dude, we got to figure something out, you know. And that's what you got to do. But that banjo minnow, whether it's a large or a small, you just keep on changing to what works. Same thing with color, same thing with flies, same thing with lures, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And baits that you guys use, you got to switch. Sometimes they don't want that big bright orange, skirted buzz bait.
Yeah.
You got to go to one of my favorite buzz baits is the red and black. And then I'll use a red and black basically I'll take a rubber worm with the regular rubber tail.
Oh yeah.
And I'll split that worm in half. I'll cut half that worm off, and then I'll slide it through so it has a trailer on it. That's what I would do when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, like a curly tail almost.
Yeah, like a curly tail.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's how, I never, those crawfish ones, I was like, dude, those things ain't gonna catch fish. I never used them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Oh yeah.
Fishing with Cody was the first time I ever used that type of trailer.
it's unbelievable, man. Like it's when you look at like in trailers, especially plastics, the shit that you can do is amazing. Like this is the first year I've ever given the Nico rig a solid shake. Like I tried it last year. Have you ever seen this?
Now, is that with the hook, with kind of like the metal rod with the ball, with the
What?
You know, like if you have a hook and then you have the bait,
Yeah.
and then like a metal rod comes down with a weight on it, like not a rod, but you know, like
you're talking like the Tokyo rig, right?
Oh, okay, that's Tokyo. Okay,
yeah, and those are interesting as well because it's almost like a really short drop shot, you know.
Yeah,
like it lifts the plastic up.
It was.
Yeah, the Nico is a little bit different because it's almost like you can. I'm really kind of learning that you can use almost any plastic. There's like I don't know if you could use like a finesse TRD or anything, but basically what you do is you take your plastic and then you'll put like one of those wacky rings around it, or sometimes they use split rings. I have a box from I don't know if it was Dark Horse. No, I think it might have been an old mystery tackle box. They sent one of these over, and it was like almost like a trick worm, right? And it had about at the head about a third back. It had a split ring, and I do the same thing, but with a wacky tool. I just use the O-rings, put those on.
Okay, yeah.
And what you do is rig your plastic like that, and then you use like a finesse style hook. They make hooks that they call Nico hooks, but they're just basically slightly longer shank. Finesse hook. They're really, really light. And then what you'll do is you'll hook that plastic like perpendicular with you'll put the hook in perpendicular with the plastic so that ring can then hold it on. The idea is that if you get a big bite, it saves your plastic because it'll send the plastic up the line. And you can just slide it right back down. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, shit.
And then what you do is on the head, you take a nail weight and you pop the nail weight inside the plastic. Some of them, they have like a jig head style, so it knocks against rocks and things. But you can use it like a Ned rig. It's kind of like a... I'd almost say it's kind of like a drop shot in a way, but it's like a drop shot on the bottom. You know?
Okay.
And it's like, it's unbelievable. And it gives a whole different style of action. Like I've used, what have I been thrown there? I've used stick baits. I've used trick worms. I've used drop shot baits, like worm style drop shot baits, really small ones. Those have been really good. And then I was experimenting with a craw, but instead of putting the nail weight in the head, you put it in the tail. So it naturally sits up like a craw would with its claws up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, dude.
Like defending itself.
Yes.
Like, hey.
And I'm like, this is the shit right here. Like this could be it, you know? And it's, I love that. Like with plastics, you can get so creative with them, you know, and with molds, oh my God, you can do anything.
So it's like when you were saying when you were a kid, when you discovered like how to make baits.
Yeah.
It's like my buddies fly fishing. And they're tying. I mean, it's really an art form. And honestly, whether it's fly fishing, making flies, or making baits, to me, it's still an art form.
Yeah.
And the material that you must have had probably was unbelievable, because I see my buddies with the thread, they have pheasant feathers, freaking vulture feathers, all this crazy stuff they got, you know, that they even collect. Oh my God, look at that feather on the trail. They'll from some bird, they'll take it and put it in their pocket because, I'll use this for something, you know? And I'm just like, dude, you have thousands and thousands of dollars of freaking yarn.
It's crazy. It really is. And it's one of the things I started saying when we put this show together and started doing this, is that's the beauty of fishing. Like it is 100% undeniably a science, but in the same token, it's also an art. And there's so few things in life that are like that. You know, like cooking is like that. You know, it's like, you do something and in a, you know, and it's something about the way you do something that works, and it really can't be explained, you know, other than, you know, maybe confidence comes into play or you know. But absolutely. The science element of it, it's just like, okay, so this is, you know, this is happening in this body of water at this time. This is what the behavior is. So there's a lot of this amazing combination that sort of comes together. I love that conversation when it comes up, and you're just like, I can't explain it. It's just, you know, it is what it is. That's what I like to throw, and I have luck with it, you know.
So only thing I knew for years
Yep.
was literally rubber worms with an offset O2 hook.
Oh yeah.
That's all I knew.
That's a
You know,
super versatile bait though.
and that's what I would put on either a Texas rig or a Carolina rig. That's all I did. Or I did it with weightless, with nothing, just the worm in the hook to give it a little livelier. So it's suspended only 3 inches below the surface instead of on the bottom. Fishing with Cody, especially when you just said that Ned rig, we actually used that rig.
Oh yeah.
We used the Tokyo. And then we did with the jigging. I mean, we pretty much did it all, but I never knew any of that stuff. I only knew basically that one easy concept. You know, I only had that one concept in my head.
Yep.
And I liked it. And back then I threw those big Zero spooks because I love to walk the dog.
That's like my favorite top water.
That
dude.
was my
oh
dude.
my god.
Catch stripers. I'll catch stripers with that. Big bass with that.
Yep.
And you could, you can huck it with a bait caster.
Oh my god. Man,
So-
it's so funny too because I had last fall was when I first started throwing those, and I picked up a couple. Like I picked up like a bone colored one, a chrome, and then what was the other one? I think the other one was a black one, and it like I love it. Like it's and so I was out fishing this one pond with Sean, and we're talking about topwater, and because the turnover was just about to start happening, and he's just like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, like topwater. He's like the rat's great. He's like, but I'm telling you, man, you're going to love a walking bait. It's a lot of fun. He's like, it takes some time to master. You got to get the rhythm down and, you got to do such and such. And he likes to throw his on a really heavy setup, basically a frogging rod. And really right now, that's I throw pretty much all my top water on a frogging rod, most of it.
Okay.
I'll throw buzz baits on that rod. I'll throw, the rat on that rod. It can handle it, but I'll throw a frog and that's really like where it's job specific. It's everything else. I'm basically just using the reel. So he's like, you got to get this walking action like this. And I'm like, okay. All right, that's cool. Let me try it. So I grab the rod and I like first crack at it. Perfect Z formation, like perfect. And he's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I've spent the last 20 years playing drums. I'm like, that's a blues shuffle. I'm like, that's what it is.
That's a rhythm. The rhythm.
I'm like, that's what that is. And I'm like, but what's funny is like, I've realized like, so last fall I've had blow up after blow up. They've all been missed. And I think I honestly think that heavy rod is a little too much when I throw it on braid too, because I love braid. But,
so when you're setting the hook, you're not getting the flex you need.
Yep.
You're basically ripping. I mean, it's so stiff, you're just ripping it.
Exactly.
So that's something that Cody told me.
Yeah,
it's so funny because I'm sorry I have to keep on going back to Cody, but Cody, because of just me being there for that, I learned so much. Dude, he was just like, oh, use my 7.8 this, and this one's for flipping. Oh, you're gonna throw the rat? Use the 7.3. I'm like, he knows his gear to the T.
Yeah,
what it can
totally
handle, what you can use, what he has braided line to what he has in mono.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, and I just used the fly rods now. Oh, okay, I'll use a 5-weight, a 6-weight, a 7-weight, a 4-weight, a 3-weight. I mean, obviously, it's probably the same concept, but it just blew my mind how well he knew what bait can handle what rod. And like you said, he had his one rod that I used for top water. He said, you know what? He goes, what I'm thinking, he goes, it's either the rod it's too tight and you're just ripping it out of their mouths, or it's not tight enough where it's bending too much. So it's an either or thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny that you say that though. And the way and how I learned about the Zero Spook was from Jimmy Houston.
Yeah.
Watching his shows when I was a kid. And I didn't realize, he said the best time to throw it is not when the water's calm. You want a little chop.
Yeah.
When the wind's blowing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And just like anything else, those ripples help camouflage. So it kind of blurs like, oh, there's something going across. They can't get a real good look at it because of the chopper. They whack it.
Yep.
Yeah,
it just disguises it just enough.
Yep.
No, that's awesome.
That is awesome. I can't believe you love the Zero Spook.
I do.
Man.
I think
love that bait.
It's so much fun. It's just so much fun. It's great. That's the thing. Like there are people who they just love top water. They just got to fish top water, and I can't like deny that. I love a good top water blow up. You know,
dude, that's the same thing with dry flies.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Everybody, dude, people get into fly fishing because they want to see that fish smash that dry fly.
That's exactly
to me. Fly fishing is dry fly fishing.
Yeah,
but the thing is, when the fish are eating off the top, people don't realize the fish are 90% eating underwater.
Yep.
They're eating those bugs. They're eating those, whatever little leeches and stuff like that. So they won't eat topwater until some hatch happens.
Yeah, that's true. You really got to wait for the time to be right.
And that's why, guys, they call it the magical hour. It's usually the hour before dark. There's people that I know that won't fish until like 3 hours before dark because they know that's when the dry fly hatch is going to happen.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything else, They're not going to waste their time nymphing because they don't want it. They do that to them. It's not that their style.
Yeah.
No,
it makes sense. And and getting back to that whole like comparison of science and art, it's like if if you want to find success doing something like that, having the information, to where you're presenting that specific presentation at the right time, where it's going to blend with what's happening in the ecosystem, it's like it all ties together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy, man.
And that's something that you just figure out over time and experience.
Yep.
When you need to change from a swim bait to a topwater bait, you know that this is going to work in this situation. Same thing what I do with fly fishing. I honestly, I want to get back into bass fishing again, dude. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it. It was awesome. I'm getting a bait caster tomorrow. I'm going to call up Doomsday and order some rods.
It is infectious. I mean, it is infectious, man. It's bananas. I'm curious. I don't ask this question a whole lot, but aside from fishing, what is your most unusual talent? Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. What's your most unusual talent? It can be fishing related or not, or both.
So it's welding.
Welding.
I used to do a lot. You should see what I can do with a set of spoons. I can make I used to make roses, tulips, picture frames, you name it. I mean, any ornamental steel. I love doing that. To me, that's awesome. My art. That's my art. That's what I like to do. Because by trade, I'm a sheet metal welder.
Yeah.
Fabricator, but I got into welding basically by making belt buckles. Yep. I was making just crazy stuff. And then same thing. I got better and better. Then I worked on bigger equipment, heavy equipment. Then I started doing things, projects for big companies, to help my buddy out at his welding shop. And like I said, was willing to teach me because he knew that I wasn't just saying, hey, I want to learn how to weld and show up for 2 days. That dude made me chop wood for like a month. And I showed up every weekend or after work to chop wood for him. And then he's like, all right, this dude's serious. And then he showed me how to weld and look where I am today. I mean, I couldn't thank him enough.
Yeah. That's huge though, when you think about it, like how useful that is. My father can weld a little bit. Like he picked it up later on in life. But you can, when you're talking about like, oh, I want to modify a trailer, something like that, something that that you could utilize even for fishing trips, stuff like that. Like it comes in really handy,
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I mean, I always worked with my hands. I mean, being an HVAC and an SM2 sheet metal worker, I mean, you got to love your job. I tell people all the time, if you don't love your job, why the hell are you doing it, man?
It's exactly.
Learn something that you love. Would you want to be miserable every day? And same thing with welding. I mean, I jumped into it head first. I mean, I'm like, this is great.
Yep.
It was something that I love. I had a passion for the stuff that I made, the stuff that I gave away and donated for breast cancer awareness, outings and just to my friends and family. I mean, I hope it's something that will last them forever.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's awesome. It's crazy. Now, this is like the cornerstone of what this show is all about. 2 stories I need from you, Jeff. I need you probably have been getting ready for this one. So I need the story that's like the biggest like moment that you're most proud of on the water. Whether it's an amazing catch, whether it's a situation that happened on the water that was just insane, and things kind of happened and worked it out. Something like that. But that the moment that you're like most proud of on the water, and then I need you to follow that up with the biggest sort of. And we all know that that's going to be the hard one to choose because every angler has dozens of those stories.
So probably one of my favorite moments that I had is actually with my dad when I was a kid.
Yep.
So I was fishing this pond in Beacon Falls where I grew up, and we're fishing and I'm not catching anything. I was all pissed off. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I see this like little bait fish cruising the bank getting chased by a bass. And I reached down and I grabbed it in my hand. My dad was like, "Oh, that's so nice of you to save that minnow or whatever." But I said, "Give me my rod." And I hooked him onto my hook. I'm like, well, if that bass is chasing it, I could catch it.
Exactly.
So I throw it out there. Didn't catch anything. And I'm reeling it in. And you know how like you have your pole and your bait is just dangling above the water?
Oh, yeah.
This bass came out of nowhere, jumped up. The minnow flopped off the hook, and the bass grabbed the hook. And now I have a minnow off and a bass on my fishing pole.
No kidding.
And my dad's like, if I didn't see it, I would never have believed you.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was so proud. I was like, Dad, we caught a bass and saved the minnow.
That's amazing. You hear those stories where people are like, "Oh, I was in my kayak and I'm paddling out and I had, a crankbait hanging over the side of the boat, and then this blow up happens and it's like I almost lost the rod. I had to, stop it with my leg or something." And you're like, that shit can happen, especially in clear water.
And it's kind of funny because I actually had that happen with Cody again.
Really?
I had that big ass jig you saw me throwing in the videos hanging off the boat because my line was wrapped around the tip. I was trying to fix it. A crappie came up and grabbed it. And now I caught a crappie on this freaking monster ass jig. I'm like, Cody's like, "What the fuck was that?" He goes, "Holy crap."
That's awesome. I hope you guys kept him and he was lunch.
No, he ended up flopping off.
Oh,
but he was a pretty big sized crappie.
Yeah?
They're not small. They're not small in that water system. So if you get on some crappie, man,
it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny because just this week, I was having a conversation with Sean, and he was throwing a floating Rapala, and the crappie were crushing it.
Really?
Like, he's like, I don't know, maybe it's like just a topwater crappie bite. And I'm like, I don't know. And then there's another friend of mine who was out with his daughter, and they were just fishing together. She's really into casting, and he gave her a rod with a frog tied on, and there were 2 instances where there were blowups. And I mean, with a topwater frog, if a crappie gets that, I don't think they have the strength to push down on the plastic. So I don't think you're necessarily going to hook them. But I'm like, who knows? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the pattern. And now you're saying this, I'm like, it makes me wonder if like they're just high up in the column in the Northeast. I don't know.
Well, have you ever seen like when the crappie boil, they're like in a circular pod and they'll boil on the ponds or the lakes? You ever see it?
I haven't ever seen that, but yeah.
So like the places that I fished, I would see them. I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of crappie. People are like, how do you know? I'm like, I don't know. I've just seen it so many times and fished it, and that's what we caught was crappie. So one day we were in a pod like that, and we were crushing them, and then we didn't have any more. At that time, we had like worms. We were kids.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, what do we use? I'm like, well, let's try this. I had a white T-shirt on. I cut a little like an 1.5-inch triangle out of my T-shirt, put it on the hook. So the triangle, the fat part of the triangle was through the hook and it tailed out. And then I took a split shot about 3 inches above it. And I threw it out there and I started jigging it. And we caught, I swear to God, Bobby, probably 100 crappie. And I'm like, man, I think I got something.
Yeah.
So people used to ask me all the time, what's up with all these cut triangle white material? Like I said, oh, that's don't worry. If there's crappie, that's what we're going to use.
That's a crappie.
They didn't understand.
Right there.
Yeah, I said it works. It works.
That's awesome. I love catching crappie. Like they're probably, I mean, there is a lot of freshwater fish I have not enjoyed in my kitchen, but crappie is one that I've enjoyed a number of times, and it's always delicious. It's
my favorite is sunnies, man. I love eating sunfish.
Oh yeah.
Any panfish,
Any
like you
panfish.
said, crappie, sunfish, perch, white perch.
Yep.
I mean, stuff like that. Oh my god! I never had a walleye though. Never caught a walleye. Never ate a walleye.
I'm in the same.
And I heard
boat.
it's amazing.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. They're like, if you're going to compare to, like, yeah, you go like panfish, like, you know, crappie or large bluegills, like something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, in walleye, it's a tough call. You know, it really is. Unbelievable. Hey, are you going to be part of our Rocky Mountain Oysters showdown that we're planning?
I don't know. I mean, I will. I'll have no problem doing it.
I think you should. I think it would be a whole lot of fun. We have to get. I was just saying in the episode that we actually drops tomorrow. That I have, we were trying to find like a caterer, somebody who had some experience with this. So like, you know, we could put out like, you know, a good spread of bull testicles. And I decided, I was just like, you know what? I go, the couple of people I know that are in the business, they're also fishermen. And I'm like, I'd hate for them to be involved and have to work. Like, I'd rather them just sort of like
enjoy.
I'm just going to do this. I took a deep dive and looked up some bull testicle recipes, and we're just going to make it happen. And I mean, you guys are in good hands. I'm relatively good in the. I don't know if I'm a Cody Van Sant, but I'm pretty good in the kitchen.
I'm down for anything. For me, if it smells good, I eat it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not 230 from not eating food and just smelling it. You know what I'm saying? I fucking eat.
Definitely, man. I love it. So what about the epic fail?
The epic fail. Well, I mean, I guess I could say it's constant, but I always somehow fall in the river. No matter where I am, I go flying in head first. So the worst was when we were fishing. It was about -7 in the morning.
Oh, man.
Probably warmed up about 9 degrees. I'm 2.5 hours away from home in the Rocky Mountains. Snow, it's cold. My buddy hooks onto this monster fish, and we were getting excited. And it's still, after you catch a fish, you still have that shakiness and that excitement.
Oh yeah.
And my footing was right, and I just end up going head first in this ice cold ass water. And the thing about Rocky Mountain water, dude, it is cold all year round.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that, you know, fresh runoff coming off the mountains and just constantly cool water at 9 degrees. And then I had to find clothes. So now I'm driving in my underwear with a hoodie on, and that's about it.
Yep. Heat cranking.
For 2.5 hours with my buddy laughing at me. You know, and it's just like, dude, I'm like, and that's why I started using a dry bag, because all my shit was soaked. So I wear a dry bag.
Huh. And
whenever I fish.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. In fact, it's so ironic that you say that, because I was just watching a video about like kayak fishing in cold weather, and that's, for me, that's a major issue. I'm like, you know, when fish, I would love to fish year round. You know, and honestly, you fish year round. How do you make that happen?
Basically, you try to find tailwater. You try to find water. So headwater. I don't know if you know. Headwater going, river going into a lake is headwater.
Yep.
Water that comes out of a dam is tailwater.
Okay.
Tailwater is usually above freezing, so it usually doesn't freeze over. There will always be open water, so you're able to fish even though it's super cold out. There's snow on the ground.
Yep.
Freestone is pretty much the headwater, because there's no dam controlling that water going into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they call them freestone rivers. If there's not dam controlled, it's freestone.
Gotcha.
And those will freeze over because it's not that same temperature from the bottom of the lake constantly throughout the whole entire winter, which is usually, obviously, the bottom of the lake isn't frozen.
Yep.
So it's above freezing.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe the edges might freeze a little bit, or the farther you go downriver, the water might start freezing a little bit more because it's not as warm coming out of the dam. So
Gotcha.
that's how I usually fish all year round. Is I'll like the Swift River. That's tailwater.
Yep. Yeah, because that's and that's what I've heard is that water is exactly the same temperature all year round.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And that's why people are able to fish it all year round.
Yeah, that's good to know, man.
And I'll tell you, I'll be up there in the winter if I'm still here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
If I'm not out west, because that river system, like you said, it just blows me away. There's monsters in there. Monsters.
Oh, yeah. I was up hiking. This is up further close. This is very close to Quabbin. We were actually hiking in the Quabbin property. And the Swift goes, it crosses up, like Route 9 crosses over it. And then it's on the, I guess it would be on the north side as you start going up closer toward the reservoir. And as we get up there, I mean, that water is just absolutely crystal clear. And my entire family was walking up, and there was this one guy fly fishing. He's in his waders, and he's like kind of like skulking around looking at. We had this nice sort of like eagle eye spot to look right overhead and see, and there were like 18s swimming around like nothing, just these giant trout, and. Like, I mean, my kids are just like, they're yelling out to him. They're like, over there. I'm like, I was like, let him do his thing. You don't want to spook anything. Like, let him do his thing. It's all good. But they couldn't believe it. And I'm like, this is amazing.
So it's kind of funny that you say that because, like, I'll be out in, like, say, Silverthorne, Colorado, and they have these bridges that go through town, people walking bridges.
Oh, yeah.
People always love to look over the bridge and look at the fish. In a way, those people help you because if you're fishing near a bridge and you see them pointing in a certain direction at the water, they spotted something.
Oh, definitely.
So you start casting over there.
Yeah.
Or they'll help you out. And my thing is, too, where people are super quiet, and I think that has to do with, you can't spook the fish, but I think it goes with more of the old school fly fishermen because, bro, I make tons of noise on the river.
That's what I've heard.
And I still catch fish.
Yeah.
I still catch fish. And I'll tell you, I think our new age of fishermen are totally different than the old school guys. I've met guys, this is crazy about me. I met guys that actually cut their hooks because they just are sick of taking fish off of a fly. If a fish hits it, he's like, that's one.
Shake them off.
Out there. Oh, yeah. Like,
really?
He's like, they're like, we caught so many fish. We just want to see if our flies work. I'm like, it just blew my mind, dude.
You know what? I've heard something kind of similar. Blew my mind. It's interesting you say that because like I forget I was watching something and they were talking about pre-fishing for tournaments and how the bass fishermen will do the same thing, take the barbs off and basically that's what or take the hook off entirely and just let them grab a plastic and they're like
that's what they're doing. Yeah,
that's all they want them to do is just know like, yep, they're over here. I found them. Cool. I can come back here tomorrow and that's the spot.
And then they put in their GPS in their boat.
It's crazy, man. Oh,
it's just crazy. You know what? It's if the way that you're telling me how bass fishing is and how I'm telling you fly fishing, it's not that much different.
It's
dude.
Really not. No, there's a lot more similarities. It's true.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, man. Well, Jeff, go ahead, promote yourself a little bit, man. Let people know where they can find you on social media. If you have anything special coming up that you want to, plug a little bit, go for it.
So, I mean, I don't have anything special. Basically, it's just me and my Instagram and my Facebook, but it's at Big Nasty _. It's actually Big _Nasty 186 on Instagram. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's just Jeffrey Holloway. Awesome, and that's it. I like to just help more promote my buddies. Yeah. To me, it's not about, not about me. I want to see my buddies have a good time and succeed. I did a lot of plenty good things in my life. Oh yeah. Nice. I just want to see everybody else have a good time and whatever they're doing, No, I agree with you, man. I think that's the best thing when you can do. That's part of what I do for my business. It's like that's what I do. I try to lift people up and I try to entertain them, and show them a good time. That's the way it goes. This was really great, Jeff. Long overdue. I'm glad we did this. We got to get out and fish for sure. Absolutely. Maybe we'll just make it a point to go hit the Swift.
I think that would be absolutely badass. We should do that.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. That'd be real cool, man. I would love that.
Hell yeah.
Swift's only an hour and a half away from me, so
Yeah.
that's why I've been up there a lot.
Oh,
that's why there's a lot of pictures of me with the fish from Swift.
And like I said, I've got a personal vendetta with that body. I'm like, you're not gonna break me. You know?
Listen, I met one guy that told me he's been fishing there. I think it was he said 15 years and hasn't caught one. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So now I met two people that didn't get
oh my goodness, yeah. And this is going to be, you know, I know the water does get pretty skinny in some spots. I've got a big old 13-foot kayak, but I'm going to be taking it up there, and there's some spots down there where I know that there's some decent smallies, and I'm going to get on those for sure.
Dude, where the river goes into like that where it widens out and it goes into like a neighborhood, like there's a couple of houses. So say if you're on Route 9 at that bridge, instead of going up to the dam, if you went down and you just kept on going all the way down past the hatchery, keep on going, the river like widens out and then it like goes. Dude, I'm like, if I had a kayak, I would be slaying. I bet you there's monster browns down there.
That's what we're going to do, Jeff, because I got 2 boats.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Hell yeah.
Yep. I'm just waiting on the other one to get here and we'll be good to go.
Because that's got to be epic down there.
That's going to be crazy. It's going to be so good. I love it. Sweet,
all right,
man.
buddy.
Let's do it. Hey, we'll be in touch. Have a good
Absolutely.
one. I need you to do me a favor, though. I need you to send me a picture of like just an absolute beast that you're super proud of, because we're going to use that for the artwork for this episode.
Oh, okay. I got a couple of them.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Well, hey, you take care of yourself, man. It was great talking with you.
Absolutely. I appreciate everything.
Oh, you're the best. Thanks, bud.
All right.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, alrighty, guys. That does it for this episode of Jigs and Bigs. You guys should all know that this week we had. It's been a struggle this week. It really has. I mean, let's be honest here. We have not. I know I had mentioned. I think in the outro that I was hoping to have this information to put at the end of the podcast for people to go ahead and get started. Whereas it was before, please just go ahead and download the Fishing Chaos app and set your profile up and monitor all of our, all of our information over on our social media. Instagram will be providing links if possible, as well as Facebook. And we're going to have, the word will be out when you're able to pre-register. Again, I sincerely apologize that is not ready. Also, jigsandbigs.com, our merch tab over there, will have a reconnect to the brand new store very, very shortly. I just need to get the thumbs up that all is well there and they're ready to go ahead and start taking orders. So let's go ahead and cross our fingers that all that happens within the next 24 to 48 hours. So anyway, guys, on behalf of myself and Sean the Fisherman, I want to go ahead and say thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you guys so much. Hoping you guys have yourselves an amazing, amazing experience jumping on the tournament when things finally go live and we're ready, good to go. And we will see you guys in 7 days with more Jigs and Bigs goodness after this. Until then, I'm Sean the Fisherman, and no, I'm not Sean the Fisherman. Sean the Fisherman is right there and currently muted. I am Bobby Roast Beef, and on behalf of Sean the Fisherman, tight line.